On this track, you will hear commentary by David Fincher, Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, and Helena Bonham Carter.
Now, is it true that you had to present this title sequence as an entirely separate budget from the rest of the film?
Yeah, this is one of those things that this to keep you on budget. They say, well, we think about doing the title sequence if you're good. So it was like a.
If the movie's good, you can rise up from the fear center of the brain. If it's bad,
it's white titles against black.
I remember when I first got to LA, before we started shooting, I say about a week before, no, 2 weeks, we had 2 weeks rehearsal, and as a sort of introduction into the sort of mind of this film, literally, he showed me this opening shot, which the computer generating sort of geniuses were working on, and he tried to explain the sort of tracking shot, starting in the motor neurons of the brain and tracking out until eventually you get to the barrel of the gun, which you're going to see in a second. Anyway, it was sort of mind-blowing, and it did indicate to me that this person had a intense, amazing visual imagination. It was a glimpse into the mind and visual imagination of Fincher. Then I sort of knew that, well, I could just sort of trust him, and I was in good hands. And that was the case with most of the film, in that he has such a specific vision, David, that I knew that I could just relax because he'd be doing half the work for me, in the composition of shots or the way he saw the character, added to which he thought he was Mahler. So I thought, well, all I needed to do was really copy him. And I'm not completely joking about him thinking he was Mahler. Certainly he got the tone of her, or understood the tone of her. So I would say, partially base the character on David.
It's a little dark, Fincher.
Sorry. I have a philosophy that in most movies, you can see too much of the actor's eyes. So we tried to really get rid of that in this movie.
Sort of the Gordon Willis approach.
Yeah.
I don't remember doing this shot.
How did you drop the camera like that? How did you go through the bullet hole?
As you're going through the van under the street and whipping along in the foundation of the other building, if you go frame by frame, you'll see the rooms.
Yeah, there's one room. There's a janitor's office.
And you'll see the intricate work done by people who have basically never left offices, much like that janitor's office, where they live in front of their computer screens. Now that's the enduring image of the movie to me. My face and Bob's chest.
Big moosey slobbering all over.
Meatloaf gave me a picture of me against his breast in a frame that said, "With hugs, love, meat."
Bob's testicles were removed, then hormone therapy.
I'm actually taller than Meatloaf, so he had these enormous elevator lift shoes on that gave him about an extra 8 inches. When Meat came in, I didn't really recognize him because his hair was all cut short already from another movie, and he came in, and it was kind of hard to believe it was him, but he was great from the first reading. He was really, really great, really funny.
Couldn't sleep. With insomnia, nothing was.
Starbucks was very, very cool with us.
They were cool.
Letting us do all that stuff except actually have a Starbucks.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, there was our first little blip, by the way, for those of you looking.
Subliminal Brad number.
That was the first subliminal Tyler number one frame. These were the first week of shooting, by the way. The office scenes. These office scenes were the first week of shooting. Brad was still on vacation. I was working.
Zach Grenier.
Zach, woo!
You want me to deprioritize my current reports until you advise of a status upgrade?
Make these your primary action. So funny. Business vernacular. One seems to know what they're talking about.
Grande latte enema. Like so.
This is brave. You don't see a lot of scenes in movies where guys have their pants all the way down around their ankles.
And I didn't have anything on underneath either.
You didn't?
Mm-mm. I wasn't wearing like
a thong. Not for this scene.
In fact, did you notice that I didn't ask to go to the bathroom that whole day? This is the shot. Actually, Fincher, do you remember when we were doing this shot? and we watched it on the take. You said you have to come in very precisely, and you can't, like, you have to come in and you have to be at a perfect pace. And we watched it on the monitor, and someone said Norton resembles young Baryshnikov.
I don't remember that.
Was holding. We used to read pornography. Now it was the Horchow collection.
It was always kind of a challenge doing especially the early part of this movie. Well, really all through the movie, because the voiceover really goes all through it. But a lot of times we were shooting shots knowing that the voiceover was running over it, and you have to time the sync of the voiceover fairly closely, especially in moments like that where a voiceover line comes in between two lines in the scene. Sometimes we had Dina Waxman, our script supervisor, sitting off stage, like quietly reading the voiceover lines in the spaces where they were going to be, so that we would do the timing of the actual lines right.
Subliminal. Think. I love using a subliminal advertising technique to introduce a character.
Actually, we did get when we were doing the transfer of the film, we they send as we finish the reels out, they'll send them out to be quality checked and quality controlled, and we did get a lot of notes back that there was some dirt on some of the frames.
Really?
Yeah.
Big discussions about this section, about the balance of humor and reality, and we're dealing with something that there are people walking around with and living with and dealing with, and finding that line of empathy and still finding the irony within.
Thank God, I'm glad for her.
This is the kind of scene that, I don't know, only people with no sense of humor saw as negative.
Everyone, let's thank Thomas for sharing himself with us.
This is one of the first clues of who Tyler really is. Because he repeats these words right here. I look around this room and I see a lot of men, ...
All this was shot, a lot of it was shot downtown in Los Angeles, spaces that don't look like any place in particular. I think kind of the idea was to have a city that's everywhere and nowhere.
Meatloaf had just spent a decade losing all this weight, and he gets a job where he's got to be fat guy again. And so they have to build this fat suit for him. And there were 2 suits invented, right? 2 suits made because of the studio. One with nipples, one sans nipples.
And I remember the first week of shooting, the only response that we got from the studio about things that they liked or didn't like, they sent us a memo basically saying, is it necessary that he have these giant dustbin nipples? Dustbin lid nipples. And I was driving down Beverly, and I looked over, and there's this woman asleep, this homeless woman asleep in this in a bus shelter, and I looked over, and she had these giant nipples poking through it, and I was like, I gotta get a picture of this person and send it to Laura.
I think you should have quoted Larry Flint and just said, complain to the manufacturer.
Looking at this shot, I did a shot once with Meatloaf that wasn't in. It was a shame because I had to cry, and you always think when you have to summon up tears and then it's not in, you think, oh, what a shame, after all that effort. And in fact, we reshot it twice, but I think it was more to do, it didn't really match or suit the introduction of Marla, much as I'd like nestling into Meatloaf's breasts.
I felt pretty bonded to Brad and Fincher, and just in terms of that it was in essence a comedy, or a black comedy with a heavy element of satire in it, so that in these kinds of scenes, the support group scenes are emblematic of that, because if you didn't approach these with a certain tongue-in-cheek kind of black comedy, then you'd just be missing the point, I think.
I think Marla, definitely, if it was not for Marla, Tyler would not be engendered, and that the need to invent Tyler comes from meeting Marla, or in confronting Marla and somebody who he could possibly have a relationship with. He's too scared and retreats and invents this character that he feels could have a relationship rather than himself.
That's when they were saying, thank you, Travis.
Yeah.
Which was...
an ode to Travis Bickle.
Right. There was a period where I was going to have all of the fake names that he uses be names from De Niro characters in the 70s.
Prior to that, it was all names from
I had Travis and Rupert.
But there's also, remember,
Cornelius in there.
But then Cornelius got in, and then And then when we ended up in the sickle cell anemia group, Luther got in there, remember? So it ended up sort of a melange between De Niro performances of the 70s and the Planet of the Apes. I think it's a great sort of end of the century character, a guy who's addicted to self-help groups and support groups. Christina, the girl playing the support group leader there, the person doing the guided meditation, is an old friend of mine from New York theater days. She and I were in a lot of plays in New York together.
I remember the first time I went with the Dust Brothers, we walked away. I basically said, this is sort of what we want to do. We want to do it, and here's the script, and and they were just like, cool. And they like offered nothing back. It was just like, because they were just
stoned.
Yeah. But, everybody was terrified of them because they'd never done anything before. And I was like, no, that's exactly what we want. We cannot have somebody do the music for this movie who's ever done it before, because it'll freak them out. Trying to thematically tie this all together.
Yeah, I gotta say it was fantastic. We were pushing for Radiohead.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
For that
Yeah, Brad and I had
early Simon and Garfunkel Graduate.
Right. Brad and I had a mutual fixation on the second two Radiohead albums.
This is one of the great entrances. You can't really go wrong with an entrance like this. I'm a girl walking into a testicular cancer support group and asking whether it's cancer. I just remember, watching it, you remember just little things. Of course, I try to do an American accent, so for me, I just remember trying to get the nasal A in cancer right. When doing an accent, which I enjoy doing, certain sentences sort of represent little verbal hurdles, like the most outstanding things from going English to American are the D's for T's you substitute, or T's for D's, and the nasal A's and the R's are particularly pronounced. So this is cancer, right? When you're with David, one of the foremost characteristics of working with him is the fact he does multiple takes, so you never walk away from something thinking you haven't got it.
I actually thought the amount of smoking she was going to have to do in this movie might cure Helena, but I think she went from 2 packs a day to 3 by the end of this film.
Another main sort of enjoyable byproduct for me was being a smoker, being in LA and being paid to smoke.
This is
Do you know what I was doing below the frame on that one?
We actually shot a version where Edward was masturbating. She's thinking about how much he hates Marla.
And she's sort of making him incapable of even that. He's incapable of even that level of self-love.
To begin tonight's communion.
This is practically the only other woman in the film, Chloe, and the support group leader. I felt immense solidarity when they came on set.
And in the book, it's Joni Mitchell's skeleton, not Meryl Streep's skeleton. Why did we change it from Joni Mitchell to Meryl Streep?
She just
looks
didn't
more like Meryl Streep
She
than
looked
Joni
more
Mitchell.
like Meryl Streep. Yeah, I just didn't think she looked enough like Joni Mitchell.
Oh,
you
easy answer.
Yeah.
Have any fear of
Rachel Singer, by the way, is a wonderful, wonderful actress who came in, and there was a huge discrepancy, and I think Art Linson was the first one who just thought she was just too sad. It was too sad. It was too, it wasn't funny enough. They wanted somebody. Art wanted to see somebody funny deliver the lines that Chloe delivers, and
Well, we were pushing it for that too.
Really?
At that time.
Really?
And
I
you
just
said,
love her.
Yeah,
And she did such a great job.
Yeah.
And she's it just seems so tragic.
now let's
I don't know why this shit pisses me off so much.
meditation.
These practices meant to distract and giving people false hope. That's what pisses me off. Then again, I don't have any better answers, so.
Actually, that was right there. That was one of my favorite Andy Kevin Walker lines.
Which?
If I had a tumor, I'd name it Marla.
Yeah.
When we started rehearsing, the obvious question was whether we were going to visit real support groups for the terminal, or generally, so just any kind of support group, but for real. But we realized that it was wrong, only because it was ultimately it's satirical and it's not a totally realistic portrayal of, and it doesn't mean to be, and it would have been sort of the wrong frame of reference. Everything about this film is a slight, on a stylized, heightened realm.
I love this little sight gag of her overflowing the coffee. It's just one of those.
Did she do it?
Yeah, watch.
That's great.
Never caught it.
Never saw that.
I was like, okay, and the next one, make sure the coffee overflows. She's like, got it. She went over.
You know, that's how focused I was in the moment. But I never noticed that.
You are good.
Tibetan philosophy.
Helena walks a fine line. She is tasty. Her role was a role that could have just actually read a little more redundant than mine and Edward's, a little more monotone. And she didn't get the credit she deserved here. She little delicate turns and twists and really filled the thing in. She's phenomenal.
Helena's got such big cheekbones, you have to wonder if it looks like her cheeks are touching in the middle of her mouth.
One of the things I always hated about Helena's hair, and so these little strands always came into her eyes, and they were so distracting because you always want to look at her eyes. She has some amazing eyes. But it became this little tension thing because it was like they were always sort of dangling. She blinks and they move.
I love the little couple in the back there.
Yeah. A little overacting. Always.
With matching skinheads.
Yeah.
I like her little Coke ring,
Oh, they're good, aren't they? Look at them.
a little flower ring for hiding your.
Your bindle.
Actually, in the Fight Club catalog, that was one of the most hilarious ones.
That was actually one of my favorite marketing tools. Was the
Fight Club
dress.
catalog. It
Beautiful.
was genius. I'm holding on to mine.
One costume decision which was made very early on, principally because David said to Michael Kaplan, who's a fantastic costume designer, as soon as she gets here, make her taller, because the guys are about 6 foot and I'm about, I'd say 5'3". I'm approaching a dwarf. So I wore these platforms, which I loved because anything to help lengthen the leg, but was fast regretting it after doing about a marathon, walking up and down that street after about 36 takes. So most of the time, I must say, might be a bit disillusioning. A lot of the time I'm thinking about my feet.
This is one of those things, when you shoot these walk and talks with Steadicam on the streets, it always ends up being a disaster in terms of sound. And I don't know who is doing our transfers of our tape every day, but they just sounded horrible. So we went in and looped the whole thing. And I remember Edward just going, "Oh, this is crazy. I can't do this. I can't."
And
We
this
spent a
being here, too.
Yeah. We spent at least a day on that scene, getting it all right. And then when we finally got to the mixing stage, David Parker, who did all the dialogue stuff, played it back for me. It just sounded amazing, so we just went with it.
The production track.
Yeah, but actually, I think the ADR tracks were really great. But it was amazing to hear the productions finally go, "Wow, this is great. Let's go with it."
What, are you selling those?
Yes, I'm selling.
I remember one take when we did that, and I thought I'd actually fully stepped on Edward's foot because his reaction was so realistic. It was going rather well for Edward, and I hadn't stepped on his foot at all.
Favorite too. Try to slip it by me, eh?
Look, we're gonna split it, okay? Take the first and third Sunday of the month.
I think what so attracted me to the part of Marla was that I was sort of amazed that David was so sort of specific about wanting me, and yet there was nothing that I'd done hitherto that would suggest that I was right for it. Having said that, like as a film watcher myself, the casting that excites me most is seeing people being given the chance to transform themselves.
I remember we were shooting this scene. She's on the street. She almost got hit by a car. We shot that twice. We shot this scene.
You reshot that, and I
We
wasn't there the
reshot.
second time.
Yeah.
The stunt guys.
No stunt guys.
Nope.
Because the camera
That
was
was
out
us,
on the
man.
street with her.
You guys are renegades.
You were on the sidewalk.
Pussy boy.
But literally,
We risked our life.
I mean, it's enough that she has the problem of like not knowing which way to look when she steps off the curb anyway. But we had
Right.
all these stunt drivers, and she
Because she's British.
she would step out into traffic and I would tell her, just be fearless, don't worry about it. And she would just step right out there in cars. You could hear like the clack of like the buttons on her coat as it hit these cars as they
Oh my
would zip
God.
by.
You wake up at O'Hare, Dallas Fort Worth, BWI, Pacific, Mountain, Central, losing.
We actually, when we shot the car by the side of the road, that was the out in Marina Del Rey
Right.
at the frog conservation area that was supposed to be DreamWorks.
What?
That's right. It was. Hey, now do you remember when we were doing this shot? You remember this is Brad's first
Brad's in.
non-subliminal appearance. But do you remember when we were shooting that and they
Which I
tried
was
to
afraid
they
it was
tried to
gonna
back
play.
the moving sidewalk up and they couldn't stop it and the whole entire camera unit like jammed up
That's
against the back and Conrad almost got our camera operator almost got crushed.
Shampoo conditioner combos, sample packaged mouthwash, tiny bars of soap. The people I meet on each flight, their single-serving friends. Between takeoff and landing, we have our time together. That's all we get.
For those of you looking in that little hotel video, it is Brad on the right in the line of laners.
Gracias, gracias. No one has ever caught that. No one has ever come up to me and caught that. I wanted to do, those little infomercials when you check into your room and they show you the fire exits and you see the guy in the elevator and the elevator stops and the smoke coming through and he puts a towel down at the base, the wet towel and all that. I wanted to do one of those, but we just didn't have time. So it was reduced down to that, but it's pretty pure and not even in the middle, off to the side.
If you read Richard Schickel's biography of Brando, this guy who writes for Time magazine, he talks about seeing The Wild One and how The Wild One was one of the cinema experiences for him as a youth because it was about youth anger and Brando saying, what are you rebelling against, what do you got, and how all the critics and all the parents were saying this is subversive and an incitement to violence and all this stuff, and he felt this complete thrill of identification with it. And if you read his review of Fight Club, it's just like, it's a guy who, is completely incapable of recognizing another wave of zeitgeist film. He can't, he's incapable of seeing the same potential because he's on the other end of the generational spectrum. Now watching this shot coming up, boom. The stewardess gets, see, I was trying so hard to keep my eyes open, but Fincher kept blowing this air cannon into my eyes. I thought I should have this serene look of fascination.
Well, you should have.
No. I thought I did pretty well considering the 200 pounds per square inch that was blowing onto my naked eyeball.
I would say that was pretty much your opus right there.
Listen, if they can cut the cut your cornea and flap it up, you could sit through a shot like
Sure.
if we give him a Darvocet drip.
That's right.
Want to switch seats?
No, I'm not sure I'm a man.
I love the way this scene was written. This is so funny. Right here, I knew.
This was done about 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning. It's one of those 18-hour days.
Not to take credit away from Jim Yule, who did a great job adapting this, but this is very faithful to the book.
Well, except this scene doesn't exist in this book.
Oh, is this one of the ones that's not?
This is completely fabricated.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Originally, they meet on a nude beach.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. In the book, Brad fought hard to keep that.
Prehistoric sundial.
Yeah, with the hand.
Stonehenge sundial.
In the book, Tyler's making a sundial out
Anything with nudity, I'm always for.
of his body on the beach. That's right. This isn't in the book. The other big one is in the bar coming up.
Yeah.
A plane. Well, can we be naked?
What were some of the most bizarre reactions? I mean, did you ever find yourself actually having to kind of sit there?
No, my sister liked it.
Really?
Right there.
My brother and sister loved it.
Right there in the heart of the Bible Belt. The actual buckle.
I love how dainty the soap is. There's this guy wearing this weird sultry outfit.
And then he's got the Fred Siegel's packaging.
Yeah.
It is really interesting though, one as a lighting thing. I mean, you guys really wash the color out because, like the way. I mean, Brad's here reads like black there. You know, and mine too.
That's just underexposure.
It's just interesting.
Inadvertent.
It's so dark. I mean, I like the film, but it's really dark.
The most interesting thing.
Not just in the psychic sense. Fincher used to toss around sort of the Buddhist thing of you have to kill your parents and then kill your God and then kill your teacher. And I think, Tyler helps Jack, reject the value system of his parents. And then at the end, he has to reject Tyler. If Tyler's his teacher, he has to sort of pull back. And, Tyler helps him through the first steps toward enlightenment in a way. But by the end, he has to pull away from Tyler and to find himself as separate from Tyler. I think that's one way you can look at the whole thing. I mean, Tyler's seduction is a more liberating seduction. I mean, it's a seduction of liberating yourself from, the entombment in material possessions and all that's familiar and not working on an emotional level.
Here's Bob.
Bob.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bob.
He's a friend of ours.
No, ancient friend of Fincher's.
Fincher's.
Good basketball.
And bitten about everything you've done, right?
Yeah.
Designs a mean pair of sweatpants, too.
He sure does.
He's one of those guys you just need a room for morale, troop morale.
He is. He's the morale.
Now, see, this was a scene that pretty much anytime I
great
saw it
job.
got a laugh. Only someone like Ken Turan. Couldn't laugh at a scene like this.
Of a dildo, we have to use the indefinite article a dildo, never your dildo.
I don't own.
He's subtle, baby.
Yeah, he's the good. I love the like, scratch in the back
No.
of the head. I'm not here to judge. We know you have a dildo, and I'm not here to judge.
Now, this was power, I gotta say. I felt a little power surge ripping through LAX.
It took Brad about
Completely
8 takes to be
uncontrolled.
able to get that car into gear.
You're out of your mind.
You did it first one.
You had to keep getting your head turned right.
Tyler, on on sort of a philosophic, political level, he definitely represents sort of, I think, a very Nietzschean impulse toward the idea of nihilism as a practical approach. I mean, it's a lot like sort of Nietzsche's Zarathustra. It's the idea that nothing can change in a positive way unless a lot of the old values are ripped down. What gets explored in this film is the idea that nihilism is a very sexy idea when you're young and feel frustrated, but that becoming mature means recognizing the practical limits and in some ways the hypocrisies that nihilism lends itself to. I have a funny story about the night we shot this coming up right here.
Okay.
Now, in the lobby of this building, there was a fountain which was turned off, but the water was kind of basically at floor level. And right before this shot right here, I was sort of trying to get, appropriately in that mode right there. And I just turned with all those extras around and stepped right into the fountain. And I was up to my calves in the fountain. But
Like,
fortunately, this shot didn't have my feet in it.
Literally,
That's outtake material, my friend.
literally like 5 or 6 people, the crew members, just stepped in that fountain over the hall. It was just
They
like,
did?
You would hear splash, 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 and somebody would go, "Oh shit!" We were like, "Should we put up a sign?"
Later tell me that the pilot light.
Edward's strength is he always knows where he wants to be within the context of the story. The drawback is sometimes its planning keeps it from being fresh, in theory anyways, but the guy is just so exquisitely good that he never gets in the way. Me, I'm the opposite. I let the day dictate what's going to happen, and so for me it's more of a hit and miss. Drawback for me is when I'm missing, I'm really missing. I don't have that to fall back on.
I always liked that her voice, we talked about that when we were writing the script about, or working on it, just about how her voice should trigger the explosion.
Yeah. Hello.
See, thematically speaking,
That's good stuff.
I always thought that at his moment of sort of desperation, he kind of has this impulse to call the woman, which is pretty much the impulse he should have been following all along. But she's too much like him. He sees himself reflected in her too much.
These underlying themes that we don't state, but just hating someone who's hating someone the most because they represent you, yourself, they reflect your lie. It just astounds me, this one.
And so as soon as he hears that voice, he hangs up and then basically calls the other guy, who of course is his imaginary friend. So really that's the moment of the beginning of true psychosis there. Although I guess he was talking to himself on the airplane. And I guess he set the explosion in his apartment already.
Oh, he's already done that, yeah. He's just not dealing with it yet. He's still in denial.
So he's basically been a sick twist from the first frame of this film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fade in. Sick motherfucker. Goes on.
I
fade.
actually wanted to, before we started, I was trying to get Finch to let me be the self-help group leader.
Mm.
Walk into your cave. Feminine style. So
You wanted to
created
dress as
your
a
whole
woman.
alter image. We had to loop this scene. And again, it was one of those 14-hour looping days where Finch and I were getting a little slap happy. And in the last take, we're just doing some potato chips. I just love that he grabbed that one.
Now this scene was another scene that was not in the book that was kind of a collective effort in the office.
Yeah.
Toss it out the window of a movie.
No one cared for that. I love the Lorraine Bobbitt reference. It just never went over. It's one of those things that crushed me.
We spitballed
kind of
this
came out of a lot of this kind of came out of a lot of spitballing.
A lot
Of
of
all of
Nerf
us.
basketball.
A lot of Nerf basketball.
A wardrobe that was getting.
We had a longer rehearsal period on this than any movie I've ever worked on.
And we spent most of it playing basketball.
And we spent most of it shooting Nerf hoops.
You know what a duvet is?
Most films do tend to wrap things up thematically in a bow and let you go out of the theater knowing exactly what the message was that you were supposed to take from this. And when films that muck around in these kind of ideas resolve in some ways ambiguously and dump a lot of it in your lap and say you have to sort through some of this yourself and figure out what it means to all of you, what components of it you agree with, what components of it you disagree with. You know, people get very uncomfortable. People don't like it.
Television with 500 channels. Some guy's name on my underwear. Rogaine, Viagra, Olestra.
Artist.
I loved your insistence on getting Viagra into this somehow. It was like Viagra had to be in there. So it was exactly right. Your instincts were right.
Thank you, man. And yours with Olestra.
Olestra, a little more obscure anal leakage reference.
I knew I wanted to be in this movie the minute I heard that we were going to get to say fuck Martha Stewart in it.
I was hesitant until I saw the Kmart commercials, and I said, all right.
I've met her. She's actually a handsome lady and very nice.
What do you guys think of Rosie O'Donnell? Rosie O'Donnell just hated this movie.
I know, but you know,
And
No,
I really,
it's okay. She hated
You know-
it. Was
you
fine. No. But she was saying this movie disturbed me. I could not sleep for nights. It hit her nerve. It struck some nerve, whether she wanted to look at it or not. And that's what I.
You know?
Yeah, but the deal was she gave away the ending on national television.
yeah, I know.
It's just
I
unforgivable.
think, the auxiliary tract is a good place to be bitter.
What?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's-
I mean, where else are you gonna?
Because basically,
liable.
basically anyone who's seen the movie, bought the DVD, and decided to go ahead and listen to all this is a fan or is liking it.
You think so?
Yeah.
Or looking
so-
for ammunition to bring us all down.
Exactly.
No, I'm just
Wait,
gonna
you have
assume
to
I'm gonna
write
assume the
it down.
positive and assume that anyone listening in here is cool.
I think another thing that was sort of informed the whole experience of doing Fight Club for me was that I was playing a supporting character, who was working 40 days over 113s and spread across that period. So it was quite difficult. I suppose one of the greater challenges was trying to remain emotionally involved and concentrated and coming in, having had 3 weeks off to do another scene and somehow, resurrecting her. I'd never been asked to do that. I never had to sustain a performance over 6 months, but, erratically. But that was definitely one of the sort of challenges of the job.
I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Let me tell you a little bit about Tyler.
Yeah.
Now the casting for this.
Fincher appears in all his films. With a big tan.
I don't tan well, except in a few places.
Now the thing about cigarette burns in actuality is, don't they run most movies on a platter now?
Yeah, so
that
it's an irrelevant joke, but it was there for posterity.
Sure. There must be some theaters where they still have to switch reels.
This was our first day. This is your
This
first
was
day.
my
shoot?
first day,
Yeah,
that's
when,
That's right.
when-
This was Brad's first day.
when Brad came in and we shot till 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
I think by the end of it, he was going out to get in his car and he had this look on his face like, "Oh my god, this is gonna be like this."
We didn't go that late. I didn't. You guys had to go on.
No, you left pretty late. You
No,
left.
I left a little earlier than you.
Time flies when I'm with you guys. My mom actually justifies this whole entire movie because I warned her going in, but she it's all right with her because I play a character who's not really real. It's really Edward doing it, so she can sleep at night.
I always like the fact that I was actually eating with the people before I turned down and broke the fourth wall.
Thunk.
I love that. And Brad is so funny there in his choices. He's such a dangerous and sort of utterly present performer.
This is a scary thought I'd rather just not think about.
My introduction to the whole of the Fight Club scenario was over the whole Oscar period, and I was being sent lots and lots of scripts, as it often happens when it's just the last time you want to read anything because you're so bulldozed by having to do 10,000 interviews. But just before, sort of at some pre-Oscar party, I met Brad, and he approached me, and I'd read it, and I felt ambivalent feelings about it, and felt that, well, it's a tricky thing for him to. We discussed a sort of moral issue and whether it was responsible for the film for him to do, and he was very intelligent about it and very easy to talk to. Anyway, we discussed it, and then I met Fincher, I guess, a week later, and then was very impressed with him, particularly because he was so completely unlike what I'd expected. I thought I'd get a very, full 150% testosterone sort of macho, possibly somewhat immature adult. And actually, what struck me about Fincher was he's particularly soft and feminine, but highly articulate and persuasive individual. But I didn't need to be that persuaded because I just thought, well, between the three of them, the intelligence, the talent, and the writing as a highly literate script. You just don't get film scripts, certainly like in mainstream or big budget films. You don't get that level of talent and intelligence.
I think it's so clear that in this scene, the whole point that is articulated is not I'm feeling shitty about all these things we've been talking about, so I want to like punch you in the face as a result of it, but that the point was to take the hit, that it was more about the receiving and the shaking me out of my own
Not
sort
about
of
getting aggressions.
having
taking the
experiences.
experience.
Yeah, having the experience yourself.
Even if it's difficult.
This is some of our best ad-libbing right here.
Yeah.
That little
This is a
scream
little
at the-
free-form interpretive dance session there, unchoreographed.
I love the post-coital smoke.
Yeah, it's touching.
We
Lovers.
reshot that, but it didn't get used. Why? Too long?
Yeah.
When I first read it, it took a bit of explaining. I mean, I found it intensely funny in a dark way, but also felt there's a message here that could be misunderstood. Admired it for its boldness, but knew that it needed careful and responsible handling because it could be taken literally. I knew it'd be controversial. I knew it'd be misunderstood, but I knew that the position from which all the main artists were working, the director,
But he said he'd been there for
Edward and Brad,
like it was
they all had the right intentions and the right
most of the windows were
sense of
boarded up,
they were operating from the right place.
front door from
One of the most interesting things about the experience of this film for me was watching the wave of the response. And I think part of what was exciting about it is that on some levels, a movie like this is not for your average mainstream audience, and yet it got made by a major studio at a pretty lavish production level, which was very exciting because I think we knew it was going to be provocative and saw that as the whole point, and it was interesting to watch it sort of wash across people. What's so interesting to me is so many of these critics, and that's not to say that in sum total, I would say, reading through sort of the national critiques of this film on, through the packet, I would say probably 70% of them, I would think, fully went with the idea of it and were very supportive of its complexity. But there was that sort of reactionary 30% that were tossing around words like this is a fascist film and, this is just negative and brutalizing and all these things. And ironically, I felt like a lot of it came from the left. In a way, it came from sort of the reactionary left, which is not what you would expect. People coming up to me and saying this movie really shook me up, or I was thinking about it 3 days later. That's the idea. That's the ultimate compliment. That's why you do a film like this.
Kill the power. By the end of the first month,
The whole water and electricity mixture. Not thrilled about it myself.
There's no electricity in that water. There's no electricity yet. But I always love the idea of Tyler as this guy who just doesn't he doesn't like bother himself with the big issues. He's standing ankle deep in water and he's trying to really quickly
Right.
get a fuse out. That if you do it fast enough, it's like, no.
You can beat the speed of light.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, as I recall, we were semi-trashed here.
It's possible.
You guys were?
I do remember that we kept hitting our own food truck.
Remember
Yeah.
that?
There's the balls ricocheting off the catering truck. Tonk.
rain trickled down through the plaster and the light fixtures. Everything wooden swelled and shrank. Everywhere were rusted nails to snag.
Oh.
That's a nice tribute.
The previous occupant had been a bit of a
We
shut-in.
looked for ways to just create our own entertainment. That's what that and the golfing came out of.
Now you were naked during this.
Yeah,
Of course.
Yeah, Fincher chickened out.
Because unlike
What are
the
you
average
talking
actor,
about?
There was
go the
there was a great shot where Brad went past me and I flicked my flashlight up and we had a great shot of Brad's naked ass riding away.
I gotta say, it was too much.
It was. It was
It was
too much.
There it is, right there. And
Too much.
It derailed it. There was too much sensuality.
Now, that came
too
from a
early.
real wreck. What happened was I actually wrecked before on a take, losing control, going around the corner there. And then we tried to recreate it. It's never as good. It's never as good.
the what?
The recreation of the wreck.
We could reshoot that. We have
Let's
no
do it.
time. When does the DVD come out?
If you could fight anyone, who would you fight?
Now this was a scene that got reshot.
That's right. This was the scene that.
Yeah, we shot this originally on the couch outside in the back. And
And
this
this
one
is
was one that
ours.
came out so much better the
Yeah.
second time. So much better this time.
And it was this scene that earned us the gay support.
Yeah.
So while everyone else trashed us,
I love the idea that they're so comfortable around each other.
Right.
They can barely.
it's like the guys' locker room.
Yeah. We still had 40 Tylers at the Santa Monica Boulevard Parade.
Is that true?
Yeah.
A lot of people
a
went
bunch
out
of
for
them.
Halloween dressed as Tyler Durden.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I bet too many people didn't go dressed as Ken Turan.
This scene was verification for gays that it was saying we didn't need women and that, it's just, I mean, this is further proof why we don't need women. It should just be the guys, right? Which, I don't know where procreation fits in that. I always thought of this as right here. I think it's a fantastic line, but I certainly always took that as in this time, given right now when we're such a mess, we got to put that on hold and work on ourselves here a bit and figure out what's up, and then we'll address the whole vagina issue. Let me say this too, and the beauty of it is take what you want, run with it. I'm all for it.
Came home angry or depressed. I just cleaned my condo, polished.
Now, this shot was shot about 4 months after we finished the film as a reshoot. We'd done an original shot, but you couldn't actually see me or recognize me. It was too wide. I walked down the steps and lit that cigarette, I'd say about 36 times.
Did you see the New York Times?
Today.
When?
The Versace thing?
Oh, yeah.
Tell
Yeah, I
us
did
that.
see that.
Her new line of clothing, her spring line of clothing is the Fight Club collection.
Efficiency is prerogative.
Yeah.
Really?
Michael Kaplan sent it to me.
For the true wonks, Michael Kaplan, the costume designer, also
Extraordinary.
did Blade Runner
Got to start with Blade Runner.
and Flashdance, which we're not sure whether we should applaud or boo him for, but he did put women all over America in leg warmers and torn sweatshirts.
That moment where you flashed the teeth,
Yeah.
that was actually between takes.
Right.
We were rolling the camera, and I said, "Wait, let me see how much blood's there." And you went like that.
Huh.
We got to use that.
Oh, that's great.
How's that
love
break
this
in a-
intro. I love this intro.
Here's a good shot.
It's the jack-off shot.
What was his name?
Paul.
Paul, right.
Great voice. Great
I-
dancer, too.
Except that every day I would turn and go, oh, Neil Young's on the set. This was a good shot. It only took about 40 times.
Worth it. Go all week on this shot.
Yep. Brad and I were talking the other day about how when we first came into these Lou's Tavern scenes, we both looked around and went, oh my God, everyone here is like a middle-aged biker. And we both found out we independently went to you and said, we really should get a couple more
Practicing yuppies
in here.
But you see him.
Yeah, no, but you did, we got them in, and
Yeah, it did look like a biker bar.
yeah, it was a little too fringe. Okay, now admit it, we're a little underlit here, Fincher.
Stop. It's supposed to be in total darkness.
That's right.
Then
Here they
turn
come.
The lights on. But there's supposed to be a little bigger difference between the lights being off and the lights being on.
I remember you getting a little agitated that day when it was supposed to be this big shagung and nothing was really happening.
Yeah.
Click.
Yeah, it's like nightlight went on.
Remember we played with the idea of having me lip syncing with Brad on these, or
Yeah.
just subtly.
We shot one like that.
When I first had my first interview with Fincher, I did sort of have huge reservations because I'm not particularly pro-violence on film, particularly not when it's gratuitous. Having said that, since the whole film was about fighting and the mentality behind it, it could hardly seem gratuitous. But watching it and also discussing it with Fincher, as a woman, I thought it was a real keyhole glimpse into what it means to men and the need to fight. And not so much to inflict violence, but to take it. And it isn't so specifically about violence for violence sake, but it's more to do with the sensation of feeling alive. I mean, it's a desperate statement to say about society that people have become so benumbed and so dead spiritually and emotionally that they have to hit themselves in order to feel truly in the moment. It's the same sort of psychology as any kind of addiction or any kind of self-destructiveness, that people need to inflict pain on themselves to try and obliterate the other kind of psychological pain they might be suffering from.
Talking the same man.
I said to Fincher when the first time I read the book, I called him and I just said, if we get this right, or if we get the tone of this right, it'll be like The Graduate, which it seems like a strange comparison because obviously none of the specifics are similar at all in terms of the context. But, if all stories are the same in the end, or if there's really only a few core stories, I think this is kind of just like The Graduate. It's a story of youthful dislocation and of the feeling of sort of entering the adult world and feeling out of sync with the value system that you're expected to engage in, and trying to figure out the answer to the question of how to be happy. And I think The Graduate, is very much about a guy who's out of sync with what he's expected to plug into. The thing I love about The Graduate is that at the end it's so ambiguous. It's no clear-cut victory, or it's not, that they're smiling and heading off on the bus together and they're going to be happy forever. It's more just that there's sort of a feeling, I'm not quite sure what I've done here, but I think I've at least taken a step in the right direction. And I mean, Fincher and Brad and I used to talk about it a lot. It's a story about a person finding a path to maturity or going on a journey of figuring out how to be mature. And in a similar way, it's not quite the same complaint, but I think this Fight Club's very much a story about a guy feeling disconnected and numb in the face of the value systems, who through Tyler, like Mrs. Robinson, goes off and and basically explores his more nihilistic impulses, his impulses toward just saying fuck you to the whole thing.
We got worked up just watching these fights are set. We watched 20 takes and you still get worked up. You can't help it. Don't know what that is, but the DNA starts moving. That's a pretty brilliant line too, because I see the exact same energy and rush that we had sitting around watching these fights as I grew up in the Bible Belt. Exact same thing in a revival. That energy that takes over, and people say that's God, but it's the energy of the mob. And I love how Tyler's always in the background,
Out of focus,
like the little devil on the shoulder.
The little voice in your head.
Trim your fingernails.
Okay. Any historical figure?
It's fun actually to, once you have watched the movie and you know what the real underlying reality of it is, in terms of Jack and Tyler, it's fun to watch it and think about the whole thing from Marla's perspective. Most people I know, even the ones who loved it the first time, have said that they really liked it more the second time, that they got much, much more out of it the second time, because it's such a sad and funny portrait of a guy who's completely insane.
That was my glamour shot. This is when my characters OD'd on Xanax, something that I wasn't particularly familiar with myself. I remember going to the medical for insurance before doing a film, and at the end of my interview I said, well, how many Xanax do you need to take in order to kill yourself? And she did look at me a bit oddly. Then I explained, of course, it was for a role.
All right, here, I was supposed to be back there doing some kind of sit-ups or something. I don't know how the martial arts started getting worked in, but this was the first moment. I just asked if anyone knew any nunchucks, or had any nunchuck moves. And one guy showed us a little move and doing absolutely nothing there that makes any sense. But from the distance, it looks like somewhat know what I'm doing.
This isn't a for real suicide.
I love all that falling into frame. She's always a movement into frame or out of frame.
You're trying to keep Marla playful, so it didn't seem like, even though she's, the kind of fashionable nihilist, there's something sort of playful about her.
And this is a shot. Those aren't my breasts, I hasten to add. I wish they were. But this is a computer-generated shot, which consisted and demanded me and Brad taking sort of positions in the Kama Sutra for about 12 hours and have still cameras take pictures of us. We were covered in dots, painted white dots all over our bodies that the computer could recognize. They couldn't recognize our body. And then it was fed into the computer.
That's Fincher's version of a sex scene. He kept saying, I want to fly between her stomach and around her breast and under her arms and through these beads of sweat, frozen like Luke Skywalker or something. It's like, sure, Finch, whatever you want, man.
I love this. The gargle's so great.
And the wink. It's so funny to watch this movie once you know what the underlying reality is. It's really funny to watch all these scenes with her. She's so funny. She comes down, she gargles coffee, gives him a wink,
Cute.
He's a jerk to her and she leaves,
People would get they would be like, oh, we hate her, we hate her, we hate her. And then the second time you see it, you feel so sorry for her. Like,
she endures so much awfulness.
Whose robe is that?
I had this roommate. This was a horrible robe. This was her ratty, rotten robe. I borrowed it for the borrowed
you're
it for
kidding.
the flick. No.
Well, I remember because Andy and I come over to your house. Someone, when he comes down in that robe, he's like, "What do you think? Is this Tyler?" And he's got like the yellow sunglasses and the Gucci loafers. And I was just like, "Okay,
That's
pack it up, put it in a box, send it over to the set." It was hilarious.
Live up to its name.
Fincher's so funny himself, so he adds in death hairball. That was his idea. I just remember me feeling profoundly sick on delivering that line time after time upside down. But I love the way he shot that whole telephone sequence.
Now, how could Tyler evolve?
movie took about, we shot this movie, I think there was 138 days of shooting. I shot in probably 130 of them. It was definitely the longest shoot I've ever been on. I worked essentially every day of the principal photography because I think this scene right here that we're going through is actually the only 40 seconds of the film that I'm not in. I think this was probably about the only half day I had off.
Now, as you can see in this scene, it does contain a dildo, which I'd specified had to be on the larger side for the joke to work. Bucky, who's an incredibly thorough props buyer, approached me rather embarrassed one day, saying, well, and took me aside and showed me a whole range of dildos to choose from. I think I got a hamper full of dildos for my goodbye present.
I love throwing Helena around.
I like the dance here. Dance always makes me laugh.
It's to throw him off.
Well, what's funny about it is when you shot it, you obviously didn't have the music going.
No.
But but when the music's in there,
Vince said
it's
he
so
would have
funny.
some drifting from down the hall
Right.
or something. She's not frail either, I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
She
she is.
was banging into this wall.
Yeah, she's so
bottom of the steps.
teensy though.
It's such a relief when a director knows what they're doing and so knows what they want, but as I say, contributes to the characterization in the way they see it and how they're going to frame you and how they're going to light you. And he has also such specific ideas about costume and lighting, but down to such detail.
Tyler is just all unrestrained, blunt statement of everything. There's very little beneath the surface with Tyler because he's basically just an id, just charging forward, you know. He's all about the purity of impulse and expression. And I mean, I think he's almost a puckish figure, you know. He's like the spirit of mischief. And my character is all repressed impulses, unstated things. I mean, that's why I love the device of the voiceover, that one thing gets said and then the truth gets heard inside his brain. You know, he can rarely say what he's really thinking.
God, I haven't been fucked like that since grade school. Having said that, the whole crew started laughing. I didn't quite get it because, again, the slight cultural difference from, I didn't know what grade school meant. I thought it was just normal school, not primary school. The original line was actually, I want to get pregnant, I want to have your abortion, which was then deemed as just too abominable a line. So we reshot it, and that was David's rewrite.
Didn't quite find the right tone in this scene. Just reads a little frat guy. Just kind of missed the mark by a few beats. But the flashbacks and where we finish off on them, don't speak, saved it.
Yeah, I promise. Promise. I just said
I love that moment of the, that's 3 times you promised. I love the little petulant stuff,
Yeah.
the schoolboy stuff that Tyler always has. There you go. Promise, promise.
It's got a strange code. All right, this is HBC and I just sitting in a room, sitting there screaming our guts out.
Originally in the book, there was this whole thing about I am Joe's gallbladder. It was based on this Reader's Digest series that was.
It was real.
Yeah, it was
yeah,
real.
My parents remembered it.
And we couldn't get clearance from Reader's Digest when they read the script, so we had to come up with a fake Reader's Digest magazine, which was the Annotated Reader, which is what that magazine is that you see Edward reading all the time.
I love this little suggestive shot right here through the crack of the door. Looks like we're reinventing sex. All we're doing is flipping and jumping around on the bed.
What are you doing?
Gee, look nice and bronzed there.
going to bed.
All for you, big boy.
Remember Elena and Venice, Helena's mother? She was the
Oh, yeah.
Because there's that whole the rubber glove scene. I remember when that was when the
Right.
film's unspooling and we're getting ready, and I start sinking in my chair because I'm going, oh my God, Helena's mother's here and Brad's gonna be half naked pulling off a rubber glove, like what would? And she was howling with laughter. May have been just she was so embarrassed.
I was Was the rubber glove your idea?
Yeah.
I take full credit for the rubber glove.
This was all in the first week too.
With some clean clothes.
We can never get the smoker's hack from Edward to go. I would like go up to him afterwards and go, you know, we want that kind of. Do it.
Don't look at me.
It always gets a laugh, though. I must have done it right.
No, it's funny.
Go live in a dilapidated house in a
The
toxic.
truly sad thing is we had no qualms on these sound effects. No politeness. No little hint of embarrassment. Just go.
I spent so many days just coming in and basically doing voice-off orgasm sounds on this film. The first time was a bit embarrassing, but I got used to it. You know, David would say, "Anne roll," and Ed would act, and Helena, orgasm.
Yes.
It can make you quite dizzy because you can tend to hyperventilate. But I think I got that technique down. That was one major thing I learned on this film, faking orgasms repeatedly.
I am Jack's cold sweat.
Does this sound strange to you?
Yes, sir. Strange, very strange.
What's the Halloween mask on the billboard?
A monkey? No, it's a monkey. It's a space monkey mask.
It's a Halloween card. I don't know.
Oh, I always thought it had something to do with space monkeys. I thought it was an allusion to the monkeys.
It's just coming as.
Oh no, it is.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
That's what it was.
See, that's me reading into the text. That's me bringing to the text.
Juicing it up.
We'll go and do such a thing.
It's a real luxury having so many takes because you know, as I said earlier, that you'll never walk away with something without having explored every option. But there's obviously, you know, the challenges remaining somewhat fresh from take to take.
Recently made enemies with anyone?
Edward's amazingly inventive as an actor, perpetually inventive from take to take, and a great improviser, always coming up with some extra funny lines, but so natural in his style, naturalistic, and has such a sort of effortlessness to his acting that I just only hope that it would rub off on me, frankly.
I loved every stick of furniture in.
Any kind of ad-libbing or anything, it was very, very occasional. I mean, Edward would be more inclined to ad-lib. I never do because I know that I'll never come up with anything better than what's written, particularly when you've got a good script.
I like this shot, though, because it follows him up and then comes back.
Are you saying that I'm a
What's
suspect?
really cool about this shot is, which you don't completely get because it was intercut with the detective, but it is all one take. Coming in to going out.
Except for their humping, Tyler and Marla were never in the same room. My parents pulled this exact same act for years.
Condom is the glass slipper of our generation. You slip one on, meet a stranger. You dance
The year that this film came out was like a truly great year in terms of I think a bunch of filmmakers kind of maturing a new wave kind of a feeling. You know, I mean, I thought with this film and Being John Malkovich and Election and Three Kings and many others I'm not even thinking of. There was American Beauty. I mean, by any standard, I thought it was a dynamite year, and you get people like Ken Turan or even William Goldman writing these long essays about how there's just not anything good happening anymore, and for the days of so and so and so and so, you know, and look at what was happening in film in this year, and it's so cynical and so counterproductive to me. It's like this year to me was as exciting a year in terms of all kinds of stuff that was happening in film as any year in a long time, and you just had these guys just ranting and raving about their own obsolescence, really.
Now, you could literally walk all the way around this set. So this is walking, you know, leaving through one exit and coming through, you know, crossing over upstairs very quietly, not to mess up the sound. Coming back down on the other side and vice versa. I love this. This is all one take. Pretty masterfully designed, I must say.
Thank you very much.
Oh no, I designed it.
Oh right.
I love this.
The song.
Yes, iconic.
Gotta get
It's actually the only. It was in the book. It's in the book.
Yeah.
Luckily, it's a Fox movie, so we could get clips.
Oh, really? How great.
I was gonna say, man.
That was the reason I think
What happened to
Fox bought
Suspicious
it.
Minds?
They bought this. Yeah, exactly. They saw it as corporate synergy. We bought this book that can use one of our old musical pieces.
Now, this shirt represents the camouflage theme in the Tyler Durden wardrobe.
It's a little loud for most people's idea of camouflage, but I think it's.
But in the places Tyler hides. In the book, of course, you never know the narrator's name, and nor do you in the movie know his name, because he's always calling himself Travis or Rupert or Cornelius. But in the end, he has to be referred to in the script, so the narrator's name in the script is Jack, because he reads the magazine articles about the organs that are, I am Jack's colon and things like that, so we called him Jack. And I've seen, like on the internet, I've seen people banging around and referring to the character as Jack, so somehow that's gotten out, or something like that, because there's no indication in either the film or the book what his name is. I knew what his name was, of course, but Fincher asked and asked what the name was, but I would never tell him.
But this is just further example of what you don't know. It doesn't hurt you. I mean, we use animal fat. You think it looks any better than that? Might as well recycle.
Such a disgusting but horribly darkly comic scene and idea. Now, obviously the film was based on a book, and but it was reinvented in this scene. But originally it was Marla's mother's fat that Marla was keeping in the fridge for, I think, to have her lips done at some point. Anyway, Tyler takes Marla's mother's fat from the fridge, and there's a fantastically funny scene in the book where Marla's outraged that Tyler should take her mother's fat without asking her and feels so upset. How could you do this? How could you take my mother's fat without asking me?
We actually changed this dialogue in order, because there was an issue with the, they sent the script, or they sent the scene over to the bomb squad, the LA bomb squad, and they said, yeah, that is the recipe for nitroglycerin. Or for, TNT, you can't use
We don't
that.
want to be unleashing that knowledge.
So we
on the status quo.
we cut a couple of the instructions here.
Among irresponsible filmmakers, you're the most responsible I've ever met.
Now, the audience may not know this, but Edward and I actually learned to make soap.
That's true. I remember those lessons. It was
From a woman who has her own boutique soap company in the Valley called Auntie Godmother. What is this?
This is a chemical hurt. It'll hurt more than you've ever been burned, and you will have a scar.
Guided meditation worked for cancer. It could work.
With everything else being so washed out, that green suddenly just pops. You know? It's crazy.
But I love the Noah Webster reference.
The what?
Steering flesh.
Oh, yeah, right.
Sear flesh.
No! Don't deal with the way those dead people do. Come on!
I think you can see in this next shot of Edward and Helena where his right hand disappears into her crotch.
No, it's
right?
not.
Could be. Don't ruin the myth, man. Let it run.
Our fathers were models for God.
I love the goggles, too. The idea of playing a whole scene with
Hey,
safety glasses.
safety first, I always say.
God does not like you. Never wanted you. In all probability.
We were just talking about Joe Black, and that was a problem for Lonnie and I. We fell into the same rhythms and just made the thing drag. You were both holding strong.
Listen, you can run water over your.
This was a scene that in rough cut form, to convince my mother that she didn't want to see this movie, I ran the scene for her. And she was just
particularly worried about this scene and my parents viewing this scene.
I showed my mom the scene and she went, She had this look on her face like she smelled something bad. She was like, I don't think I'll be going to the premiere of this one.
It's funny, this was one of my father's favorite scenes.
Really?
Yeah.
Your father's probably a little bit more.
He's a groundbreaker.
Well, he's only 37.
That's probably.
No, I'm kidding.
Hey, come on, give me a little credit for that flip into the lens.
Amazing flip.
It's truly amazing. Not many actors can
Hey,
pull it off.
that and the smoke ring that comes out of your mouth at the end when you say, "What's that smell?"
First smoke ring I've ever done in my life.
It's amazing.
Stores at $20 a bar. God knows what.
I liked this woman.
The woman in the background was, we had to keep moving her in position because she made the same pass at the same speed, and we always want to make sure that she was in frame when the voiceover said, we're just selling rich women their own fat asses back to them, so we continually move her mark back so she would be right there.
I have an interesting perspective on this scene.
Go.
Now that we're all friends.
Let it rip.
I'd like to hear Fincher's thing. When we did this was The first week of shooting. With
Well, wait, you
actors.
reshot this one though, didn't you?
We did, yeah.
Well,
We reshot and then we threw out the reshoot.
exactly. We did it, and it was Wednesday because we spent that Thursday and Friday entirely shooting me beating myself up in front of him.
Right.
And we shot this, and like, you know, we did it, and we did it, and we did it, and he kept telling me different things, different notes, and we're trying I was kind of getting lost. I was trying, you know, and it was the first week. I had this perception that you were going, oh fuck, you know, like, this is not going well or something, you know what I mean? Like, or that
No, what it
was
was
like,
was-
I felt it was like the first week, and you know, we were just, everybody's getting in the groove, you know? And it was like, we kept doing this, and I kept thinking, geez, I feel like we have some good ones. I feel like there's, you know, ones I'm pretty happy with, but you seem totally unhappy. And then,
What it was there was a neutrality to it. It wasn't as threatening because I always wanted this to be the Travis Bickle moment,
Right.
where the boss realizes that this guy is truly fucked up.
right, which I think you do.
No, you do, but remember the thing that happened after we did the reshoot, which I like a lot better because it's really cold and really, really deadly, was that Columbine happened. And so when we tested it with the reshoot in, which was much more dangerous and much
Right.
more evil, all of a sudden it just was, I mean, if we had to err on the side, if we were trying to make people laugh and we wanted to get a
Right.
laugh out of it, which we never were able to do because people didn't think it was funny from that moment on.
Right.
But so we went back to the original one, which was a much more neutral kind of like, you make up your mind. Is
Right.
he really deranged, or is he pretending?
Thanks for the thought.
What happened to your hand?
Oh, nothing.
This is a scene which obviously you view Marla in a completely different way once you've seen the rest of the film and know exactly what their relationship actually is. Seeing it the first time, you think, oh, how, what a lost and two-timing character she is, and not that sympathetic. But now you realize that he's the one who's acting strange.
I think I'm okay.
Now this can be seen as a sort of ploy to lure Edward's character, but it stems from a genuine, well, Fincher and I did agree that it stemmed from a genuine fear that she had a lump.
I got in such an argument with the journalist. I was trying to tell him this is a comedy. I got nowhere with him.
It is a comedy. It's a dark comedy.
It's a pitch black comedy.
I referenced these various movies different times, but why is this any darker as a comedy than Strangelove, which is about, you know,
Or Harold and Maude.
The end of the world?
or which is about the, you know, nuclear bombing of the world. I mean, it's how could you rate this movie more violent than? I mean,
Jean-Claude
where
Van
do you
Damme.
begin?
Doing the splits above the bullet.
I mean, we were all just talking about The Matrix. Yeah.
He does the splits to
I
dodge
mean,
a bullet.
I mean, did you see?
That would be the last thing on my.
Did you see End of Days? You know, the carnage, the gratuitous, completely like for entertainment carnage in End of Days, or even like we were talking about The Matrix as sort of a stylish techno, you know, experience in which the violence is literally video game violence. I mean,
Right.
it is violence as aesthetic violence, as pure, consequenceless entertainment.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
but also, I mean,
with-
you saw things in that film you'd never seen before. So.
No, I'm not at all ragging on it. I'm just saying, even within the context of the films that came out this year, it surprises me that
People thought it was that.
that people picked on this one as violent per se because
Well, I think the title Fight Club didn't help us in.
Yeah.
no, I know, but
Could have been Glee Club. You were right.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
If you ask me, I'd say we got
Raging Bull,
scapegoated.
yeah, I'd say
No
for sure.
question. I mean, it was
Comparably,
Hot
you know,
Topic,
Raging Bull
rightfully so.
Raging Bull has as many explicit, you know, shots of faces beaten up by fists. You know
And
what I mean?
also
I
one
mean,
of the
it's,
greatest movies ever made.
yeah, it's not
That-
any.
It was one of the greatest movies.
That
ever
helps.
made. That's always. That.
But listen, you ask me, I
people
say
does
the
fun
same
that.
about this.
I'm just saying. I mean, Braveheart has incredible gore in it. You know what I mean? Way more than this.
Yeah, but they ripped out his entrails at the end, so it made everything okay.
Just once, we should have had Brad and Luz go. You came to fight as free men. Free men you are.
I love that movie too.
I did too.
That
I
movie.
totally like.
got under that.
I'm not picking on any movie. I'm comparing and contrasting other good films
No, I
that
think-
had much more violence that nobody.
Listen, but
Nobody raised
no,
the-
the truth
nobody
of this
raised the
film.
people
No, I
over
don't
it.
even think that's any of it. I think the truth of the film is it attacks a way of life. It attacks
Value system.
the status quo that men have given 40 years to, and you know they can't roll over now. People can't roll over now.
But it's also, you know, film is fashion. Let's face facts. I mean, the fact is that it depends on the time of year that your movie comes out. It depends on the, you know, where
Climate of the.
yeah, where mass consciousness is.
But
And
but I think Brad's right though. I think it's also the fact that it was without showing any violence, just saying certain things that have a kind of
attacks
cultural
towards the
violence in
lifestyle.
them.
it's an assault.
This is a sort of central manifesto of Tyler's vision. And it really describes a generation which is not just male, but have an utter lack of direction and sort of have no sense of proper purpose. But this applies as well as to the women of this generation as well as to the men. Although I would say that the solution that they find in fighting is obviously more of a male one than a female one. But that's just to say that the fighting is just a symptom of a much greater underlying malaise in our society that the film is showing up.
First rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about.
What was your first connection to this when you read the book? You read
book. I think you sent me the book and the script,
right?
and I read the book first.
And you read the
He
book.
just sent the book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe you didn't send me the script, but I read the book. I think the first time I talked to you was after I read it, and we were talking, and I could feel you kind of going, so did you think it was funny too? And I went, yeah, definitely, and you went, okay, good. It's almost like, gotta make sure I've got, you know, collaborators in my perversity.
Yeah, exactly.
And as long as you think it's funny, it can be funny in a sick way, but as long as you think it's funny.
Edward and I met up in New York.
That's right. Yeah, you told me about
Right,
that.
we at the
to see if we were
in a hotel
shooting
bar.
for the same thing.
And again, I thought, you know, mainly the first time we talked about it, we were mainly talking over the things that made us laugh, you know?
It's punch.
Actually, on that punch, because the reaction, that was actually a visual effects shot.
Ooh.
A wide shot when Edward reacts when you get punched in the wide shot. We actually split screened Edward out and put his reaction from another take because his eye line was in that one. He didn't react to the punch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we split him out. We put him back in.
That's
There's
cool.
digital technology
Oh, that's cool.
used for completely
I can't believe-
ridiculous purposes.
I hate this music cue here.
Really?
Yeah, 'cause I love the smacking sounds when it's just the tie shot and he's just drilling him in the face.
Well, it's definitely
so brutal.
Still get them,
And-
though.
Oh, but to me, I feel like it gets muddled here. I feel like we go.
it's too much.
Wait, there's no music?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, it picks up here,
Comes in right
Right.
now.
and then really takes off. It's like we're supposed to take notice now, and I don't want to make an emphasis out of that. Make it more out of you're gonna pick a fight and you're gonna pick a fight and lose.
Oh, God, they're so...
The shots are great. That was a stunt guy, and I could feel the breeze. I could feel the breeze.
Lou was a stunt guy?
No, the guy who's punching him off.
When it
I
was
see.
in the close-up shots, it was a stunt guy, and would drill him right into my
Right.
face and just pull him.
I love Brad. I think the laugh in this scene is one of my favorite things. I think the laugh is so funny.
Well, we get ourselves in trouble, though, don't we, with the guy in the back holding us up, because he'd be pounding these too.
Yeah, but I
No,
don't know. I think
no,
he'd be
it's so
trying to-
spooky. He's trying to pull you
You
off.
got to get the guy off the bus. You know, you got to get the guys barfing blood into the boss's mouth. If you're gonna get up in the
He capitulates early, and I thought that's why we cut it, just because that guy couldn't be standing there holding. So.
You wanted to cut this?
No, it was cut down. It was trimmed a little here.
Yeah.
There was more that we got out of him, like light bulbs and towels, but we always had that question behind us of the thug with the gun. So
Yeah.
I just thought Luke capitulated a little early.
Well, you know what?
Nah,
He
it's
actually does. He
It's
actually
scary. I'm telling you, the
capitulates
laugh
pretty
is
quickly.
going
When,
great.
he pretty much from the time dribbled
Blood down
blood.
his throat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let us
Funny.
say, he was pretty brave because that shit went in his mouth.
It was amazing. I mean, the snottiest, most viscous, like, fluids came out of Brad's mouth and nose and ears, and just dribbled splattered onto his teeth, and you could see. And we'd shot 18 takes.
Yeah, it was nasty.
Stuart Blumberg.
I love this.
Cadillac
And
sales.
the timing Holt has here is with the spray. When we get to the...
That's actually like an untimed cross.
Now watch
This
the
guy-
shoe. I love the shoe. Woo-doo.
He learned how to do that.
Both these guys are Edward's good friends.
That's Matt Winston. Another
But right here, the timing on the second spray. Hey, man, that's fairly uncomfortable.
You can see the camera starts to bounce there because the camera operator started laughing.
There was one take where he went, "Hey, that's the Bible!"
This is actually the take we just cut out. We cut the dialogue out.
And this Dusty's as well?
Yeah. Actually, they found this music from
Fiddler
this
on the Roof?
No, we should
it
just-
was like a Jewish folk record by these sisters. It was like the Jewish folk music version of the Andrews Sisters, and they did this whole thing. We couldn't get the rights to it because no one could find who had the estate because they've been dead for years and years. And so we had the Dust Brothers actually re-recorded. That's their voices. They did all the. They're all male voices.
Unpresentable appearance.
Okay, it doesn't get much better than this scene. You know, that's always been voiceover up until that point. It's I am Jack's complete lack of surprise.
We should comment. This was a major change because this scene used to be later in the film.
Yeah, we moved this.
And you moved this forward. I remember Brad and I were talking.
No, it used to be earlier.
No, later.
No,
See, we had this debate. Brad and I
You
were.
guys are dicks.
Later, it came because after this, it used to be that
This came earlier than
came
Lose.
before Lose.
Lose came after this.
Okay, now you're really...
What?
Yeah,
Yeah, it came
Lose.
before Lose.
This used to come before Lose, and then you come home and say, I quit my job. You're all covered in blood.
Right.
And then he goes,
says
we gotta take
it up a notch.
And then
But
we
I thought the notch that it went up was to Project Mayhem, not to Lou.
No, that was the thing.
No, it led into Lose.
Led into
Picking up
Lose,
a notch was...
And then he lets Lou
Was
beat
the
him.
Lou speak.
And then at the end of it, he goes, "You're gonna."
Homework assignment.
Yeah. So when we move this to make this one of the homework assignments, or to make it seem like it's one of the homework assignments,
Right.
The thing that it did was you had this tension, this dramatic tension coming into it when it says we have to talk. You're like going, is he gonna pick a fight with?
Right. Well, no. I was just mistaken on the order, Brad.
I
You were correct.
also want to say this
You
is
were
one of
absolutely
your
correct.
finest hours. This scene right here.
Jerry Lewis is not dead.
I will say that I did go through those tables and bookshelf myself.
Like a champ, my fiant.
Yeah, there's a definite Jerry Lewis quality to it. Or as we were commenting earlier, Harold Lloyd a little bit.
Yeah.
This part right here makes me think Harold Lloyd, the arm yanking him up, because it really does look like there's a string. That's the very Jerry Lewis moment.
I love Zach's face. He just has this
incredible.
Looking back, checking.
Here's another clue.
No.
Now see, why does it remind him of his first fight with Tyler? Because he was beating himself up. See, now, it always frustrated me. My arm stayed up, so you had to cut to get him to drop.
Yeah.
I see that. Yeah, those hits were really good. Now see, the thing is, I remember it's the first time you watch a movie, or at least the first time I watch a movie. Oh, now the glass on the hand is great, because I just took a little off the floor and stuck it to the fake blood on the edge of my hand. And it gets such a scream every time it
nice
appears
squirt
in the
too.
audience. Yeah.
Really good.
Really good squirt, my friend.
No, the point is, like, I mean, the first time I watched this, the first time ever I watch a movie, you are always analyzing it within the context of the changes that have been made from the way you remember it. You can't help it. And it's not for me until like the second time I see something that I can watch it on its own logic. And when we saw it in Venice that time with the crowd, it was the first time it clicked for me on how well it worked to move that scene there, because the audience laughed as soon as I walked through the door, because once it's been set up in the context of pick a fight,
there's the tension.
I walk in the door and everybody thinks he's gonna pick a fight with the boss.
Exactly.
And it got a huge laugh. It was such a great move. Yeah, there's these two guys.
Was now involved in the flat attack.
That's the Cadillac salesman and the seminarian.
I am Jack's wasted life. Tyler dreamed up new homework assignments. He handed them out in sealed
I
envelopes.
was just thinking, actually, this is going on. This is one of the only movies I've been in that I like watching. Just because you just forget. There's so much in it. You just forget. You forget all the little things that were in it, and it's so visually interesting. There's so much funny stuff going on in it.
Did you know there's a fight club up in Delaware City?
Yeah, I heard.
There's one in Penn's Road, too. Bob even found one up in Newcastle.
The first car we slammed was a Range Rover, then the second one was a BMW, and then at the end here, it's a new Volkswagen Bug.
I'll let Edward talk about that one.
I saw it in a crowd in LA where that actually got a laugh because the idea was sort of that they're going along and they're whacking every conspicuous consumption. Luxury car Range Rovers and BMWs and things like that, and skipping the Hyundais and the Chevys and things like that. And then we were gonna have, I can't remember what we were gonna have, and Brad and I were talking, and I just said, hey, I said, I hate those new Volkswagen Bugs. And he said, me too. So we said, let's put a Volkswagen Bug in, and we asked Fincher if we could just throw that in at the end, because our spin on it, sort of vis-a-vis all this other sort of generational war stuff that we were talking about earlier, is that if the Volkswagen Bug was the ultimate symbol of sort of youth culture in the 60s, or sort of the democratic car, the car for everybody, now that that generation is sold out all those values and all become corporate advertising executives and repackaged the symbol of their own youth movement, and they're reselling it to us. Brad and I were talking about it. We felt like the Volkswagen Bug was a perfect example of our generation having 60s youth culture marketed to us as something we should aspire to, instead of our own car. We have to kind of, it's like repackaging Bob Dylan, it's from the generation that cannot understand Nirvana and doesn't understand why we don't just listen to all the good music that was playing in the 60s. So we figured we'd throw the Volkswagen Bug in there just to whack on it.
I'm telling you, I reversed my stance on the VW Bug.
You like it now?
Yeah.
Can't
I
cave
thought it
on
was
that one.
a great reworking of a classic
Good design. Yeah.
No, I'm not. Nah, it's more the principle behind the thing. It's not.
It's
not,
the whole flower power thing.
Yeah, it's the flower vase molded into the dashboard now, and it's just like it's the baby boomers selling us their youth culture,
They
selling.
reinvented and it's fun, and I've reversed my
Okay,
stance.
okay, I'm not cynical. It's
June
nice
Kim.
little car.
Wait, but let's go on this. If you
Jim
notice
Kim,
in
he
the
was
background
funny.
here, product placement, and
No,
whenever
no.
there's whenever there's product placement, there's also always
Violence.
violence, somebody crying.
Yeah. This is a Pepsi product placement. Pepsi gave us these vending machines that we put like everywhere. They're always a Pepsi vending machine because we wanted to have that, ubiquitous, logo fest happening in the background always.
But it's only in scenes of violence.
Yeah. Really horrible scenes of violence.
And I think that's appropriate.
I know where you live. If you're not on your way to becoming a veterinarian in 6 weeks.
I went to the Cinerama Dome on the opening Friday night.
What was that?
Stood in the back and watched it. It was a riot.
Really?
Yeah, it was a riot. It was a great crowd to see it in. Did you make up Run Forrest Run?
Well, that was you.
I know you
get
said that,
full
but I
credit
don't
for
remember that.
No, I think that was you.
I think
so.
that was you.
That was you.
I think you just did it. Did I
Listen, I'll
whisper
take
to you or something?
But no, that was your reference.
This breakfast will taste better than
I was at a concert about 2 weeks after the movie opened. There and in other places I've had people walk up and doing sort of the Fight Club or wink and walk up and go, excellent movie, sir.
Yeah.
The ability to let that which does not matter truly slide.
I always thought this scene, the push in on Tyler, as he's sort of coming up with his, doctrine was should have been the trailer.
You were not your job.
A guy with his crotch in flames saying, "You're not your job. You're not how much money you have in the bank."
Now, is this done CGI essentially?
This is just, we just, Connie just.
Oh, this was shaky.
No, well, the camera,
camera
obviously,
in there.
yeah,
And
the
then we
camera was
comped
being
the
shaken.
person on the sides.
So, right, so that's CGI, the perp.
Yeah.
Right.
Just so it looks like the film's coming out of the gate.
But I do remember Connie
You're not
shaking.
your fucking khakis.
Conrad Hall Jr.
There was that was our Gap reference.
Yeah,
It was
that's lashing out at the Gap.
Look, Travis.
Well, now they're
you're
on
too
leather,
late.
so.
Are they?
Yeah.
You're not too late.
Okay.
This is a scene, an important scene in their relationship, because this is where they're trying to have, at least this first time he actually begins a conversation or attempts to have some contact. But of course, it's completely at cross purposes because he thinks that she's having a relationship with Tyler, his best friend. And as we find out later, Marla is only having a relationship with him and doesn't know that Tyler exists. That's to say, the person that she was sleeping with upstairs was the same person as Edward Norton in the kitchen. It's just that she's got into the habit, realizes that up in bed, he's fine with her. As soon as she gets to the kitchen every morning, he behaves very oddly and wants her out of the house.
Not too late.
To me, this was the scene where, you know how we always talked about,
I love this scene.
that if people coming up and saying, oh, I figured it out, I knew what was going on, and you saying that you would say, bullshit, because there's nothing, it's not a mystery, there's nothing to have clued you into it.
Yeah.
This is the first scene, I think, where conceivably maybe an honest person could say something weird is going on here.
Yeah. The other shoe was starting to drop.
Us? These are two people talking at cross purposes. That's to say, I mean,
Not hearing all that noise.
if you see the film to the end and then review it, you'll be able to work out that Marla is talking to her lover, i.e. when he refers to us, she has no idea who he's talking about because to her, the only person that exists is Edward Norton's character. Whereas at this point, Edward Norton's character, and as well as the film viewers, think that Tyler exists.
Who did this?
A complicated scene.
What do you care?
So misleading at first viewing, so obvious at the second viewing.
And this is a sort of perfectly reasonable question to ask your boyfriend. And he's outraged.
I just can't win with you, can I?
This is getting a little old. What is all this?
What do you think? I love how, like the film, the character, our narrator, never has time to keep up.
Yeah.
We're always a step ahead of him.
Too young. Right.
What's all that? What?
Right. If the applicant is young, tell me he's too young. Too old, fat, too fat.
Applicant.
It's funny, I read a thing, and I don't remember who it was. It may have been Amy Tobin or
It's training.
but they were talking about how they would have included Fight Club on their list of best movies if only the filmmaker's cardinal sin hadn't been
Violated.
yeah, which is you can't have two actors playing the same character.
What book did that come from?
I don't know. I read this and I thought, okay, well that's the conceit for the movie.
You can have Peter Sellers playing 3 characters, but
Yeah.
not 2 actors playing 1 character.
Yeah, it was amazing to read, and I just thought,
What?
it just seems a little.
I'd have to think about that one. I'm not sure I think that's true anyway. I bet that's
Trust me, songs. We'll have to call the police.
For instance, Steve Martin and Lily Tomlin in All of Me.
Yeah,
Good point.
How about that one?
but they weren't on the list either, so.
No, exactly. They wouldn't have made Amy Tobin's 10 best list anyway.
Sooner or later, we all became what Tyler wanted us to be. I'm gonna go inside and get a shovel.
Like this. Coming out like MacArthur or something, some demented MacArthur.
Sir, 2 pair black pants.
Yes, sir.
1 pair black boots.
Sir.
2 pair black socks.
Sir.
1 black jacket.
Sir.
$300 personal burial money.
I remember when we were shooting down in San Pedro and we had those, there's these great new lighting systems. These, what are they called? The floating balloons? Lumiere.
Oh,
But
yeah.
there's these helium balloons now with light sources on the inside of them that you can use to float them up and tow them around on a string and put them almost anywhere you want. And I had never seen those.
I want one in my yard.
Yeah, they'd be great for a party, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
No more little, because Chinese lanterns are such a cliche.
Yeah.
But don't you remember the cops came?
Completely disagree.
The cops came by because the San Pedro Police Department got like 3 reports of UFOs.
No, I didn't know that.
Because we had 2 of them. Remember, we had the bigger one and the smaller one floating up higher over the house there.
And people thought it was a...
Yeah, a couple people called in. My driver told me that the Teamster guys told me that the San Pedro Police guys who were just cruising by told
Smack.
Yeah.
This scene, I was first clued into Fincher's sadism.
Yeah.
Saying harder. I want you to really smack him.
Well, I just didn't want
Well,
to...
it is Ian's.
I didn't want to have to Foley a head slap. Why not?
Exactly. No, if we get one really good one, then we can use it for that.
And so it went.
We'd been shooting all night long. Now the sun had just came up. We had to get this last little shot, and just wanted to have that kind of that Chinese propaganda rhetoric feel when they're driving around in the jeeps and it's being blasted over the loudspeakers. So, what we had a scene with a lot of extras. So you run the megaphone all night.
Yeah.
So we borrow the megaphone. So it'll be.
I like that, like a re-education camp.
Yeah.
Now here's a really subtle clue. See, I'm carrying one of the green folders.
Yeah.
And a camera. We threw this in just at the last minute. I'm carrying one of the green folders that later are the files of the buildings we're going to blow up. Because of course I've really been on this demolition expedition with these guys. But I'm coming in from having scouted the building. See, there's the green folder from 1888 Franklin Street.
Hey, what's all this? Okay.
And then I also there's a lot of little subtle things I like watch Jared Leto's reaction to me. It's totally, it's a good reaction to Tyler. He's like, oh, let me get those. Let me get those, sir.
But our narrator's got a whole nother thing going on.
Right, but he's thinking.
He's the guy who's been left out at Animal House.
Oh, now Stuart will kill me if I don't say this, but yeah, he's been left out. But then, of course, when he says, what did you guys do? They think he's testing them. See how Stu almost laughs there?
Why?
Because he was so excited that he did the no-look catch.
Yeah. He almost broke up.
Yeah. I've known him for such a long time. He kept trying. Remember, he kept missing.
Yeah.
And then finally he caught one, but when he caught it, he was so excited he started to smile, so he had to bite it back.
Broke out about an hour ago. Live from the Parker Morris building. Lauren Sanchez, back to you in the studio. It was just after
Shit.
Smiley face is CGI'd, right?
Yep. Yeah, they wouldn't let us paint the outside of this building, so we had to track this.
What the fuck did you guys do?
This artwork onto them.
Almost
But
easier,
the shot's
isn't it?
moving, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough.
Oh yeah. No expense was spared.
You must have had just like an open account with these guys or something, or did you just do a lump sum?
No.
They charge you for every little thing like that?
Yeah. No,
Holy
it was
can't believe that.
brutal. Every little
War
thing.
against crime will not come overnight. It will take dedication.
I like this guy. He's so stiff. Streets will be safer.
He was great. Though.
Yeah, he was awesome. I know. He sounded.
I love
it
their
was
news
so
coverage,
believable.
too. So
Well, she was real. She's
dead on accurate.
She's a real news reporter.
yes, but still,
Yeah, that's true.
it's very real.
I love the custom.
Can you imagine if you
size
looked?
60
I know. Can you imagine if you looked up and saw Bob waiting on you?
Yeah.
Like, I'll just have milk. Water.
Pat McNamara.
Stuntman, right?
No, I'm not happy about getting thrown around the bathroom.
No, definitely not.
Oh, I thought he was a stunt guy.
No.
No, but he signed up for one.
I don't think he had any idea. We told him what the scene was, but I think he was truly shocked at how much abuse he had.
And that's where I busted my rib,
Really?
landing on the knee.
Oh, you did the exact same thing. That's so fun.
It was early in, first couple of weeks.
No, remember when they threw that that pot and it broke out the bottom of one of those sinks? Hopefully no one at the Biltmore Hotel is listening to this.
Man, these balls are ice cold.
Fine.
I love how Brad's face comes in just as you enter the room. It's like boom. Then he comes into like
These guys
the
are taking
spiel.
calls. They're gonna send one to the New York Times, one to the LA Times press release.
And I love the idea of the
Look,
militant group of waiters
pen.
In Elvis wigs.
in Elvis wigs. Those are Clark Kent wigs.
Is that what they are?
Yeah. You can see on Holt McCallany on the right, his whole, he really has that Clark Kent.
Right.
Vulture!
And now watch Meatloaf in the back. His pants are down around his ankles, and he's pulling them up. But we couldn't find a take that was better. It was just a great take.
Nobody notices anyway. Anyway, Bob would be doing that.
Yeah.
Goes on, and no one knows the difference.
I like that shot. I always like that. That was slightly undercranked.
Little bit, yeah.
That
40 frames or so.
That like wrapping around me. No, I was saying before, this scene, if you break it right down, is much less like explicitly bloody, or I think one of the only reasons people thought this scene was as graphic as it was, because it's certainly no more graphic than many a Rocky movie, is the sound.
I think there's that, but I think it's also the context of it. I think,
Yeah, it's
the people say, it's like the British film censors came back and said, we find that the scene where the angel face gets beaten up just goes on a little too long, and it's just that's the point. The point of the scene is that you set up.
He takes it too far.
Yeah, you set up the rules of Fight Club, and you set up how people are supposed to react and what they're supposed to do, and this guy breaks the rules.
And if you notice, the people's reactions in the club seem to be thinking it's going on too long too.
Yeah, they're horrified, but it's,
And Rocky was fighting for.
Of course,
that's true.
Yeah, Rocky was
fighting for democracy.
Exactly. I also think this little piece of spice you had to add in of Jared's face gurgling probably didn't help matters.
They didn't ask us to take that one out.
Really?
Yeah, it was just the punches.
See, but I think watching it in this context without sound, I think a big part of what, I'm just saying, I think part of what makes the violence.
The horror, yeah.
There's that shot is the one I think that causes problems. But I think it's also just the sound, the impact. It's making it sound awful.
Don't worry, Mr. Durden. Airport parking, long term. After you, Mr.
Great clue there, though, because of the eye.
Oh, when Owen gets out?
Yes, when he.
Yeah, when he
he
gets
said
out.
He dresses Tyler Durden, but he's looking at.
He looks at me and says, "For you, Mr. Durden," and then you say, and I say after you, and you say, "No, after you."
Very poignant. Sexy.
Now, if I remember, this is one of the first scenes that the studio wanted to cut. One of the main scenes.
Yeah.
Which to me is one of the backbones.
The studio wanted to cut this scene?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, the car crash. Doesn't it just go on too long? Doesn't it?
Oh my God! It's one of the central things between the two of them.
Yeah.
There's also a good little. There's a thing you do in this. I've told you that I like a lot, where when you say like you have to rethink what you know about life, about friendship, and definitely about you and me, which I think is I always thought was kind of funny, just because.
There's also a great little laugh there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's a little laugh to it that's just sort of like you don't even know how crazy you are. This was really interesting because all of that
amazing soundstage.
This was on a soundstage and everything going by those windows is on a rear projection, but thrown. I mean, at least 40 yards there.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that was being thrown from far, far away. It just looks so good, though.
We learned our lesson on 7 about like driving around with those.
Yes, we did, didn't we?
Those fucking rain towers. Just it is
following a car.
Sun
No,
popping
it's
in
just
every time we turned the corner.
every time you turn a corner in the sun, you can never get anything to match outside, and you're constantly. So it's just we were like, okay, if we're gonna do this car thing, it's gonna be rear projection. No more of this like.
You mean if you're gonna do it in the rain?
Well, if you're gonna do it, it's a nightmare shooting car stuff.
I mean, this is subtle. It starts out like a guy jealous of his friendship, or jealous that, his dad's paying attention to the other brother or something.
I know we sort of very briefly explored possibilities of similarities between Tyler and Marla. I mean, they both certainly have a very particular dress style, but both challenge the main character. But basically, Tyler, as he says, is the character, the person that he feels he wants to be. The man.
Why? What are you talking about?
I love the seatbelts here.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a big scene. I can't even imagine cutting this scene. I love these guys looking at each other like, this guy is seriously crazy.
Yeah. What? Why is he arguing with himself?
And he does a great Brad Pitt imitation.
Yeah.
Fine.
I love this inside the car. We've seen wrecks how many times? Every other film. Vince wants to go inside the car. Let's experience a wreck inside the car. So he.
I know how a roast turkey feels from doing a shot.
Oh,
I know.
This car
Here we go.
puts it in a rotisserie.
Yeah, so half of a Lincoln Town car is up on a spit with us rolling around on the inside.
With broken glass.
With rubber glass. There it is flying around, which I swallowed at least a quarter pound of. And airbags that can explode with which as we're rolling over and over, we can hear Fincher just going, "Fire!" Boom, and the airbags go off. Again! Boom.
One of the most beautiful sequences in
It's
films.
beautiful. I just can't order a rotisserie chicken sandwich anymore.
You'll never go to El Pollo Loco again.
No.
I believe you squirted your pants.
No, I did not. Now see, here's another. Here, if anyone wants to truly get subtle, Brad is pulling me out of the driver's side there.
No, I know. I was telling a story that when we did the Dolby guy came up to, like, you know, when they approved the whole thing, the Dolby guy was
not a mistake.
Yeah, there's a mistake.
Bummer about the continuity.
Yeah, exactly. You guys should be aware that there's a continuity problem. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah. And he pulls him out of the wrong side because he was the driver. He pulls him out the side of the driver's side, and if Brad was the driver, I was like, huh. Well, you might want to wait if you're real.
You'll wear leather clothes last time.
I love this. God, like a dream.
Go climb the
I was trying to find that dreamlike thing because otherwise, you know.
Look down, you'll see tiny.
Listen, we got lambasted enough about being preachy, but I love Tyler's vision of the world.
Well, you saved my ass here because it was a little flat, a little dead on, just drifting in and out.
I think it just needed a little bit of that point of view of, you know, you're that wooziness. You know, you've just been in a car wreck and somebody's kind of telling you this whole thing.
Fading in and out of consciousness, you don't know what's subconscious, what is conscious.
And then Tyler was gone.
It's the first time you've seen Tyler's room and it's all nice and neat.
And Jack's broken heart.
Was I asleep?
Had
I slept?
Someone's been busy.
All these human sacrifices.
The house had become a living thing. Wet inside.
Remember how the guy who was getting slapped walked out on us?
Yeah.
What?
The first cut
by Evan?
No, yeah.
The
Because
guy
Evan
who was
was
getting slapped by Evan was an extra and he quit.
He quit.
He was like, I'm not getting hit anymore. And he left.
Good for him, man. $40 a day.
That's a very obscure little line there. Do you know how much ether we got in here?
I figured that was Fincher's.
I love Marla. I had I think she's a wonderful. There's one key to her that we discussed earlier on was the fact that she had a big heart. She would have to have a big heart because she has to forgive Edward Norton's character time and time again. And I didn't want to have to be coming back to him out of I didn't want that to spring from a victim or need for. I think she's self-destructive, but I don't think she is only self-destructive but on her own terms, and draws a line when others abuse her. So the only thing I could operate was from, or the key to her was somebody that genuinely wanted to almost save or recognize in Edward's character, Tyler, or whatever you want to call him, that there was potential for a relationship and that he was frankly worse off than she was, and that there was a sort of instinct to save him. So she's somebody who's intensely generous, strong,
because she finally draws the line and opts for self-preservation, finally. Well, just before the end, that is, before she comes back to him.
Paper Street Soap Company.
I think what helped me stay in the character, or sort of like at least sort of remind me of her, was actually the accent. I think if you got something as helpful as that, which is a sort of intensely physical, sort of touchstone for the character, as soon as you start speaking differently, speaking with a different sound brings out a different part of you, and I think that helped. And then you just sort of remind yourself. It depended on how much time one had in between. And in fact, the scheduling, when I asked right early on, in fact, had been done quite sensitively. That's to say that, on the whole, I was employed for blocks of time, like 2 weeks, and then I'd have 3 weeks off. So, in fact, it was made as easy as possible for me. It was a very actor-friendly shoot, and a lot of care and thought had gone into making, our jobs easier.
That Venice screening, you gotta admit, that was like...
That was surreal.
Yeah, I was ready to take my own life after that.
Oh, you were much more so. Brad and I were ecstatic.
But go on.
No, I just remember, I never thought, we'd be carried out on the shoulders of the Venice audience. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't like, but I remember sitting there and just going, it was kind of like too serious an environment. It was too...
It was a film festival.
Yeah, well, I'd never been to a film festival, so to me it was like I was expecting people to go, great, let's see somebody take some chances, and let's and there was just this like, get them out of here, get them on the next boat.
The scourge.
Yeah,
I didn't feel that as intensely as you did. I thought there was.
But what about the next day at the press stuff?
Oh, well, that was.
But then
we were on firing squad.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that was hard.
But see, that was just I just felt that vibe carrying into the next day.
This was, to be honest, this scene right here was, in some of these very, I thought, glib and lazy critiques that were sort of throwing the word fascist around about this movie. I was like, if you ever wanted the one scene that makes the critique of the whole thing explicit, it's this one, because the guys in black shirts and boots running around doing stupid things are such morons. Isn't
that the tenet of fascism?
What? Exactly.
Isn't that the first tenet of fascism?
But
morons.
Exactly. But that's I mean.
But he's saying the narrator's point of view here.
Yeah, it's so. I mean, that's what I mean. Is that how could you look at that assortment of people and call it pro-fascist? You know what I mean?
No, I never understood the pro-fascist thing.
I mean, it's so obviously about what goes wrong when a bunch of frat boys start taking themselves too seriously.
Yeah.
When a bunch of like undergraduate fraternity guys who have read a little too much Nietzsche start shaving their heads the same and wearing the same uniform. But the whole way that this morphs around him into this nightmare of sheep just chanting their lunatic, ridiculous mantras of
Durdenisms.
Yeah, of Durdenisms. It's like if you ever wanted it's like Milos skewering the communists in the fireman's ball. You know what I mean? It's just like if you ever wanted to rag on the black shirts, the brown shirts, it's the best way to do it, I think.
And I love how they build their rationale to support whatever they need to support.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. They take a cry of "this is over" and turn it into "his name is Robert Paulson." It's really interesting when you see like censoring type reactions coming from the left. I mean, we experienced this on Larry Flint too a little bit with like Gloria Steinem writing this piece about the film. It's the same kind of response, and it's not coming from the kind of the censoring right wing. It's coming from the left, where they're saying, "This disturbed me, therefore I declare it an invalid subject to have been made into a film," which is the most reactionary argument. It's like,
it's bullshit, man.
Yeah, it's really amazing. It's really amazing. It's really
comes from the most surprising place.
It's really regressive.
Now, any critiques that we were getting against was always hitting the back end of our film, which to me, I can't see it going any other way.
Well, again, I think it's when you start with a book if you like the book. I mean,
I don't think it's coming from people who read the book by any
means.
No.
I think there's often criticisms where people say, I thought the story should go this way.
That shot.
The one with the thing going over the head. We went. Remember we went.
Now I was completely envious.
Remember we went and parked there right under the landing pattern at LAX, and we had a guy with binoculars. We had the tower telling us what kind of plane was coming in.
Yeah,
And we
1067.
go, this is gonna be a big one.
Wait, that's power.
Yeah. No, we were sitting there. No, well, we didn't have control over it.
No. We were just wanting to know which.
The 747s. Get all the small stuff over on the other runway.
Yeah.
We can't do that for you, sir. This to me it's kind of like I thought it could have used more finesse, but I wanted to.
It's so kinetic. It's very kinetic.
It's definitely got that going for it.
And these guys are such twits.
Exquisite.
But I think the people who assail the back half of the movie are working forward from the idea of, well, what would they want to see? Where would they want to see this go, as opposed to working backward?
I never heard an answer though. I never heard an answer to that.
No, but I think there were a lot of people who said, "Oh, well, the beginning is so original, and then it just, becomes this like chase thing." But that's where the book goes, So we're working backwards from. We really like this book, and we like.
I see so much. I see so much more than that.
Well, I'm not agreeing with them.
Saw some great thing one time about the number of critics who panned Raging Bull and had it on their 10 best films of the decade list at the end of the 80s.
We tried to cast guys that looked like they were in that picture of Robert Kennedy when he's lying on the kitchen floor at the Ambassadors.
I love this guy. Who's he?
This is Michael. He was a guy that we found sort of late in the thing. We wanted somebody to.
Sir.
Yeah, we wanted to find. We were trying to find a guy who could pull off that sort of,
he's
the Overlook
beautifully
Hotel.
subtle.
Right, Lloyd the bartender.
What is the Overlook Hotel?
In
The Shining.
Oh.
It's good to have you back. Gonna get that. He's just like so stoked. He's not gonna give anything.
Do you remember how the screws in his head weren't holding to his head?
Yeah, so we kept screwing him in tighter.
So he kept making it tighter and tighter on his head until he's blurring his lines.
Until his foot went to sleep.
3 inches in his frontal lobe.
No,
his personality changed about halfway through the shooting.
No, he as he would move, you'd see the halo kind of like wiggle, and it was like, well, we got to get that tighter. We got to get that tighter. So they were in there with the Makita. Weird.
I like this Helena hair. This was
her Satan.
Yeah. Two horned.
The two horns of Satan.
We want to know if I think we're just having sex or making love.
We did make love. Just answer the question, Marla, please. Did we do it or not?
You fuck me, then snub me. You love me, you hate me. You show me a sensitive side, then you turn into a total asshole. Is that a pretty accurate description of our relationship, Tyler?
We have just lost cabin pressure. What did you just say?
What is wrong with you?
Why didn't you just call me? Say my name.
Tyler Durden. Tyler Durden, you fucking freak. What's going on? I'm coming over.
No, wait, Marla, I'm not there.
You broke your promise.
Jesus, stop.
You fucking talk to her about me.
Tyler, what the fuck is going on here?
I ask you for one thing. One simple thing.
See, this is when Tyler becomes an alien. I hope he comes back.
I like it as he comes back as like Bono, like
Yeah.
He comes back as Bono,
rock star,
like Michael Hutchins. He comes back. I love the idea of Tyler Durden returning as a rock star. I've been out in the world, been thinking about some new things.
I think you do.
These are my new accessories. The glacier glass.
See, I always saw it turning it more into a monster. Oh, that's what
Yeah, I think that's what I thought too. He's kind of turning into a creature.
I love this schizophrenic. Flashbacks. And what'd you do? Would you?
Are these like
skimmed this shit out? Actually, Jim Haygood figured this out. He came in one day because we had sort of done this fragmented thing, and
I love that look.
And he said, I think I can get these down really, really short. And so I came back into the editing room and he showed me this thing, and I was like, that's pretty cool. It's so good.
Because it's like it still encompasses, instead of saying if you have A to Z to go to, it still says we're gonna go A to Z, but we're gonna skip letters along the way.
Yeah.
So
A to M to Z.
So you still cover the front point to the end point, but you get there as fast as.
But it's more
short.
As the mind would work too, and you get
skipping
flashbacks, you get images, you get moments. But in whatever I was doing, we had to stick Edward in, not knowing what was going to be needed for the flashbacks.
Yeah.
Just run with it. Naturally, you're still wrestling with it, so sometimes you're still you.
We should do this again sometime.
Other times, you imagine yourself watching me.
If this is your first night at Fight Club, you have to fight.
Little by little,
just letting this.
In this scene, I was nervous that if at least once we weren't explicit,
Yeah.
you know? If you didn't step outside into an objective perspective at least once.
Yeah.
You know, because we knew we were going to do it with the security video.
Right, exactly.
Later.
This could be a good setup for that.
But if you didn't, I mean, even though he's saying it very explicitly, I love the look on the face there. Am I having sex with Marla?
Oh my God, I am having sex with Marla.
it's the guy who's looking back on it actually in the moment going,
Huh?
Is this me?
What are you saying? This is bullshit. This is bullshit. I'm not listening to this. You are insane.
No, you're insane. We simply do not have time for this crap.
See, I was most worried about when the nickel drops, if we were gonna pull this off, and I was most happy with watching it again.
Really?
And
You thought it was gonna be a problem?
Well, no, I was just hesitant.
Yeah.
I remember when we were working in the office, you were very skeptical of the detailing of how the thing worked. Having Tyler say, sometimes you're watching me, sometimes you're watching you. You were sort of saying, like, do we really want to get that explicit? But
Well,
I
I've
think
been
it
in.
worked out well.
Yeah, that's non-flashbacks. What that is.
I love the phone number. There.
Definitely
CAA.
worried about.
Is that what it is?
Was it really?
The phone number.
I wouldn't
He's been
know.
He's been calling Brian Lord all night.
I wouldn't know. I'm not a slave to those punks.
Anybody here?
Deja vu, all over again.
Yeah, with enough soap, one could blow up just about anything.
What's wild about those sequences is it does change, you know, it's like you need very, very little. The truth is, and maybe it's just the more and more we're used to these, you know, being presented with images that are streaming across, our capacity for, you know, shorter and shorter images is increasing, but you realize you can see things. I mean, that can't be more than, that's got to be less than 24 frames worth of stuff that you're seeing there, and you're picking it up.
You get it.
You absolutely get it, you know?
Excuse me?
Don't worry about us, sir. We're solid. 2160.
Marla! Hey! Marla! Wait!
Remember original premise of borrowing from Buddhism, and under that I see no other ending.
Yeah, no, I again, but we're starting from a place where we're trying to support that we want to take this journey, and a lot of people are watching a movie based on, well, they're like, oh, well, I like this moment, I'd like to see it go here, but it doesn't. So
Again, I never heard of here.
Yeah.
A specific here.
Yeah. Well, me either.
That's
Ed
Ed
from Live.
Kowalczyk from Live in his first film cameo.
Whatever.
He was really nice for it.
Clam chowder, the fried
Well, he
chicken.
came back twice, right? Because we redid this.
This is when I always feel, well, not that I've seen the film that many times, but I feel faintly relieved we got to, because I feel like, well, at least the audience on my side now, at least they know Marla and finally see me for what I am. I am somebody who's been having a relationship just with one person rather than, and with him, not Tyler or Brad.
I've come to
So I can sort of appreciate her predicament.
the full extent of our relationship wasn't really clear to me.
There's a good little
The important
I do like when she says you're great in bed. The little wince, like, oh.
I always wanted to get that in from the first draft of the script where she was talking about all the things that she liked about him. I was like, she's gotta say that he's.
Yeah, I know you used to always say that. You're spectacular.
And he's just like, oh God, I hate. Why did you? If only you hadn't said that, it would have made.
I was feeling so romantic.
What?
Mean to leave.
Yeah, I always thought, I mean, you know, I can't remember when we were talking about it, but we were talking about sort of it is sort of the like this scene is all about the realization that at a certain point, the realization that like, okay, this has all been really sexy and stuff, but I don't want to be an uncompassionate person, you know, or I don't, if it's going to involve the hurting of somebody I actually secretly kind of like, then that's the point at which the whole thing kind of shifts for him, you know?
You gotta draw the line. But I think,
Well, I think that's part of what does it is, it's not just the plot, it's that basically Tyler says, we might have to take care of Marla.
Yeah.
That becomes the line, it becomes the line that Jack is saying to himself, that's, okay, I can define myself by saying, that's not a line I want to go across.
Right.
You know?
Marla, wait, you don't understand.
There's the 7 years in Tibet sign on the...
And
in the distance was,
Larry
if the
Flint.
bus wasn't there, you'd see the People versus Larry Flint and the Wings of the Dove. Now, I want the outtake where the bus hit me.
You wanna put that in the DVD?
Yeah, can we put that on the DVD?
We can try and find that. I think there's an element of cruelty to that.
Do you remember it happening though?
Yeah.
Did it just kiss you? Did it not?
No. It came in and I became aware that it was coming harder at the later point, and I just
too late.
I put my hands out, so fortunately it hit my hands, but it made us, and then I jerked back, but it made a sound. Fincher, I turned around right after it hit me, and Fincher was up over the monitor just with his hand over his mouth.
But the hilarious
shades
thing
whiter.
is that when it happens, when you hear this thud, and I looked up, I could hear over my comm set, I could hear the wireless on Helena, and she immediately bursts into laughter. She just like immediately starts cracking up. And I was like, yeah, there's a good sign. It's like Helena just laughing her ass off.
I love her last line there. Just, you're the worst thing that ever happened to me.
How many times have I wanted to say that?
Now, is it true that
Is
it true that these three cops are named Andy, Kevin, and Walker?
On the
credits.
Because the Writers Guild wouldn't let. We've been through this so many times with the Writers Guild. Because Andy rewrote the game, and they wouldn't. The Writers Guild will not even. You can't even put special thanks to, or, it's a guild thing. So we spaced it on the title.
No sense to me. What are they?
I mean, his contribution was so huge.
Yeah, but don't get me started on the Writers Guild. But so we decided to bury his name in it. So it's Detective Andrews, Detective Kevin, Detective Walker. That was our way of getting his name on the credit card companies.
You erase the debt record.
We all act of sedition.
You'll create total chaos.
Where did we shoot this? We shot this downtown, right?
Yeah, we shot this at the Unical building, downtown LA. That was a long day. I originally thought this was going to be much simpler, but it was obvious, and when we started blocking it, that it was just the way it goes. Always.
So much. There was a lot of coverage.
You're a brave man, sir.
You said if anyone ever interferes with Project Mayhem, even you.
He's beautiful.
It's useless to fight. It's really a powerful gesture, Mr. Durden. It'll set quite an example.
You're making a big mistake, fellas.
You said you'd say that.
This was a scene a lot of critics had a hard time with.
Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah, me too. I always thought it was fun.
I always laugh at it.
Skirt the issue, but a lot of people thought, oh, that could never happen. That could never. It's like
Not the police.
But the whole point is that it's a nightmare.
Absurd. Yeah, it's
a
an
nightmare. I mean, if you're gonna get realistic, do khaki pants come off over wingtips? No, but
right here, right when you start struggling again, and
the best part is that he's silent though. I love that he stays quiet just because they tell him to.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the door shuts, he's like, "Wait a minute."
That was my chance to be saved. I like it when Van picks up this knife again. I was so worried, even though this was a fake knife. It was still he's still incredibly sharp on the point, and your legs are wrestling, constantly moving around. I thought,
oh my God,
he's gonna get stabbed in the kneecap.
This is my favorite ad lib in the movie, and my favorite ad lib of my own.
I love it. You did that in the rehearsal, and then we were like, we got to keep that. And then, of course, it was like trying to talk everybody into it. You can't say that sound. It's stupid. It's like, no, it's still.
I ran out the door and came around the corner, and Fincher and Dina were both laughing. My script supervisor. I was like, I think I'm into something.
I just love your schizophrenic partner.
That's actually me right
be
there.
Be castrated.
I know.
Yeah.
He said
You said you'd
himself
say
up.
that, sir. You definitely said you'd say that, sir.
I think that's a pretty good match between you and Damon.
Yeah, he's only in there for one of those shots.
He's in there for that one.
Yeah. That's the one where I tried to loop going, sorry.
Now how'd you slow that down?
We did this thing with this, Panavision box that allows you to change the
dial it.
stop and the camera speed at the same time, so we could go from regular speed to
Mon frere.
Thank you very much.
I love this shot too. This is a great shot. This one comes all the way across from the running, lands there, whips over there, comes back, and goes to the trash can and away.
Wow.
Huh?
Yeah, well choreographed.
That's great. I love that one.
My brother came to visit in this next scene where we hook up, and he goes, "Why is Norton in his underwear?" I said, "Because he was about to get castrated." "Well, then why are you in the buffalo robe?" "Oh, well, because I'm him." "Well, then why are you?" And it was just, he couldn't explain it.
No, I'm on to you. I know what's going on here.
Well, come on then. I got us a great place to watch from. It'll be like pay-per-view.
That was one of those shots where you push it and it hits the glass. Right. It was one of those things where we were trying to figure out a way to make Brad disappear in the background. We were going to do it in the cut. And then when we saw it on tape, it was like, oh my God, he covered Brad perfectly for the end of this. When he bends over, Brad's completely obscured, so we can now cut to this other thing. It's one of those little moments of happenstance.
Serendipity.
Yes.
Happiness.
Happy accident.
Bigger than all of us.
And this was one of those scenes that
we ended up.
I was always worried about how this was written, but I liked the way it played. It played much better.
I did too. You remember that night? I had a problem with this one that night. We just kept trying to muck it up.
You know, it was the only time you yelled at me on the whole shoot.
You yelled at him?
Yes. Well, I was just, you guys were talking, and I didn't even really have an idea. I was just coming over to hear what was happening, and as I stepped towards you, you went, just give me a second, just shut
up.
And I just turned around and went back and sat on the bumper.
Don't speak. No, but looking at you, you're dead on right. The simplistic
it was tough.
Fact was dead on.
But I love that it was one of those things when you saw it from the front seat and you saw the thing play out in the two-shot, you were like, yeah, this could work. And I love the fact that it's diffuse the bomb scene. That's not so much about the bomb. It's always about these all this stuff.
Right.
Well, wait a minute. Think about this.
How'd you do that? Is that CGI?
CG, yeah.
That is. God, it looks really good.
Thank you.
Because I always find myself in those movies where people have to defuse a bomb, really not giving a shit.
Because you know they're gonna defuse it.
Yeah.
Get away from the van. I'm not kidding. Get away from the van. God damn it. Wow.
Okay. You are now firing a gun at your imaginary friend.
And I always loved this take. There was I never I always thought of Tyler. He gets shot at and he gets pissed off, but he's still trying to explain. And then when you did that thing where you just lost it.
Haven't we been through this enough?
Yeah. How many times do I have to go over this thing?
This is a great shot. How many times did we do this? How many times did I endure this shot?
We got 4.
No. Try 14 or 15. The ones where we did with the whip pan where you clothesline me.
I was trying to think,
This was a tough couple days on me. It was there at the top.
/ parody / tribute.
It was there at the top.
Took it out after the Matrix. You mean the?
Because
No. Just the whole karate thing monster that we. I couldn't.
You started doing that.
You just started doing it in rehearsals. You started becoming Bruce Lee, and you were like, "Oh, and I love it."
These. Did we shoot this for 3 days? Yeah, two days, right?
Well, yeah, we ended up not having a lot of time. We only had 2 days in this thing to shoot it, so we were just barely.
A lot of these hits I took for real.
Except for that one, Damon got the face first.
Yeah, but I got the
Which I love, a guy
I got
getting beat
splinters
by
in my
his own
hands, the
shoe.
truck. I got the glass on the knees. I hit my head on the underside of the car. This one didn't feel so good.
Genius.
This hurt a lot. This was the shot right here. Remember we did this one like 37 times, and Brad finally refused to do it because he
gave out.
And that was me.
All right. Yeah, that was you. All right, now the stunt guy here.
Yeah, I've
no
never
pads
been-
on the leg.
I've never been more scared than watching that guy.
Because we watch, he does the first time, and everyone's amazed. He goes down, those stairs are hard. Everyone's clapping, and then we just hear, once again.
And he
I don't
did
know if
it
I
This
should-
one we were aware
80
of.
times.
No, he did.
Really, truly.
12?
aware.
No.
Fincher sadism.
Well, but I gotta say,
And what take did you use?
I used take number 1.
No.
I did.
Okay, I hope he never gets this.
I love the argument at the end. I love the fact that he makes him take responsibility. I think
Yeah,
it's
that was
so
great.
good.
We kind of struggled with this scene in the doing of it.
I say we got it.
Well, it's good because there's so many things that need to be kind of like
covered.
Yeah, we need to like have done the legwork to be able to say, okay, this is what his responsibility is to it. This is what his This is where he's going. And I love the fact that Tyler's just waiting for him to finally kind of like go, okay, bravo, do your thing, and he never does, and Tyler just gets more and more kind of frustrated with
Right.
him. I've thrown you down the stairs. I've smashed your face into a mirror. When are you just gonna like give up? Yeah.
But that's what I was saying. 'Cause there was the thing to me that the distinction that he's drawing here that he hasn't drawn in the rest of the movie. He hasn't drawn the line and said no when it's ratcheted up into other people, when it's ratcheted up into blowing things up, when it's ratcheted up into the commissioner. He hasn't really drawn the line over any of those things. He really draws the line when Tyler says we have to do something about Marla.
Yeah.
It's pretty much on that point that he says no. I choose not to be that, and in that I define myself as separate from you.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to claim myself back from you because I acknowledge that I do care about her. And in some ways, the thing about that is,
Kill the
to me,
teacher. Go on, I'm sorry.
no. I was just saying, I think it's good that he. I like that he, in essence, because something gets revealed in it, which is really, in some ways, for all of Tyler's philosophizing and all of his seduction of ideas, in a lot of ways, all Jack was really looking for out of Tyler was some kind of an intimacy, which is the source of the conflict between them in the car there, because he's saying, I thought this was our thing.
Yeah.
He's saying it's not about us. And once Tyler's moved away from him, and once Marla gets explicitly threatened, I think it's like he transfers his desire for connection back over to where it should have been in the first place, maybe.
I think there's that, and I think there's numerous other elements, just like that you can control your own life. You don't have to be washed around.
See, the thing is, though, finishing up what I was saying about hers, the thing is, I always, this is the first time in the movie I believe him when he says when he makes any kind of claim about himself, when he says, like, I'm really okay. I think he actually
means it.
He means it, I think he had to blow up the world to do it, but he figured something.
And some hydrogen peroxide.
You guys saw the cut pretty much at the same time, the first cut.
No, Brad you got to see one before I did. I came back for the Oscars in March, and I saw your first cut on
and the video projector.
Projected
here at Fox.
A video projection of it, yeah. And it was probably like 2 hours and 40 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
Does that sound about right?
2:35.
2:35.
What's it down to? What was
it? Like 2:15. I mean, 4 minutes of titles, so it's 2:19 all in. Which is, I don't know. I mean, got a lot of flack for it being too long.
I hardly think that's a long movie.
Yeah, I just don't. What was it? I think Peter Bart wrote in Variety saying something like...
Recently?
Yeah. Why is it that a movie like this has to be 2 hours and 15 minutes when it's just a kind of your run-of-the-mill thriller? It was like...
yeah, I read that. He sort of talked about it. He said even... I don't think he specifically said this. He said even your action movies or your run-of-the-mill action movies are clocking...
Oh, yeah, you're
clocking in at over...
Screensaver.
Yeah, it was one of the
a screensaver.
We were gonna do the gun going off.
Wait, watch the smoke ring.
DVD.
Watch the smoke ring.
We were gonna do the gun
have
going off in your mouth as a screensaver.
That's small. Look at that smoke ring. I love it.
Never in my life been able to do that. There's the tribute to Gary Oldman. The Gary Oldman death scene. No one dies better than Gary. This is one first times I actually did not care what anyone thought.
Really?
Because I was so
No, I didn't either,
ecstatic
honestly.
with the final product, what we were shooting through. It was there and it was beyond expectations. It's what I wanted to see. I just did not care. I understood that be a lot of people that had problems with it.
All right, sir.
It was dead on for me. So I
Yeah, I didn't think
was unfazed.
I would not have thought when we set out to do it. I probably said to many people at some points. I said, if we get even 70% of the feel of this up there, it'll be pretty wild.
And let's not forget, you had just many people on the other side going, "This is the most original, phenomenal thing I've seen."
No. I mean, we definitely got.
I mean, we don't concentrate on that.
Oh, I wouldn't. Yeah, no. I mean, if you're gonna talk pure critical,
right? Just fixate on the evil.
It's amazing because when you watch this movie, when you watch this scene, especially with a younger audience, they actually laugh at the absurdity of a guy who shot himself in the mouth
and
this
still
mistake. And there is a real defining like age barrier, and then there's people over a certain age who just go, "Fuck you, you can't do that.
Right.
That's just awful."
I remember having a long discussion with Fincher about this scene where I come back and he's basically got a lot of explaining to do since he's just betrayed my trust yet again by putting me on a bus full of space monkeys. I'm pretty angry, as you can see. And then I said, oh, I don't want to go all Florence Nightingale on him, given what he's just done. But he said, well, don't underestimate what it's going to look like. And the makeup was pretty realistic. Well, of course, when I first saw it, I was really appalled.
Everything's gonna be fine.
Everything's going to be fine. It's so deliberately ironic and sort of in joke, because in fact, this is Century City that they're blowing up.
Love the Pixies coming in.
Oh, yeah, that was a great piece of music.
And also after all the Dusties techno vibe, and we've been all around the world with the Dusties, and then just come in with this raw guitar. And
see, it's great because it's a great millennial, like We'll Meet Again at the end of Strange Love or something,
And then quality control. Did you know that there's a 6-frame splice of a penis at the end?
You're kidding.
Tyler lives on.
I gotta say, kudos to Fox. They really did. They
Yep.
totally backed us.
Yeah, I think in fact,
They did.
the first time that I saw your first long cut of it or whatever, you guys weren't there. Andy was there, and we walked out. We were kind of standing out in the bright sunshine on the Fox lot, and neither of us said anything for a while. And the first thing Andy said was, he went, my immediate reaction. He said, my immediate reaction to that is that the most amazing thing about it is that it ever got made at all.
Yeah.
But I still think I will give them credit too in saying that I feel that all the major people involved from the studio stand by the fact that they believe they made a really great film out of it. I don't think any of them backed off
No, never, not once.
the idea that it was good.
Specifically Bill Mechanic. And the battles on this thing, the marketing battles, to try to keep this individualized and support what the film is instead of, falling into some kind of, like selling it like some silly movie that's been done a million times. I mean, even when this thing came out, and hold your thought, but when this thing came out, I knew there was gonna be flack, and I had this idea. I mean, you look back at like Clockwork and these films that are in your favorite stack of lasers or DVDs, and what they did opening weekend, it's pretty much par for the course. But I'm still, on the other hand, I had this idea in my head that it would find its life now, that it was apropos, and people were ready for it, and so there was still a little surprise and disappointment on that level. But on the other hand, I go, well, that's what I expect. I knew that going in. And the thing I always hang on to is when we first sat down with this thing, you talked about, and you weren't so much talking about this one specifically, but you said you're interested in making films that are going to be around in 20 years, that have a life, and I mean, time will tell, but I think that's exactly what we've done here.
Who's it in memory of?
Scott Makla is the title designer who went on a trip to South America, and he got some kind of viral infection in his lungs, and he died. And Raymond was a development guy at Fox who found the book and gave the book to Laura Ziskin and died shortly after that.
Oh, wow.
Really wanted to see it made into a movie and never did.